morning, everyone. How is everyone's Monday morning, Monday afternoon? It is a holiday week, so my family is home today. So you're going to be seeing some Minecraft going on in the background because of my kid. So good morning. Let's say hello to everybody. Good morning, Warren. You got 30 minutes to hang out with us? All right. That's what I'm talking about. Good morning, Holly. Good morning, Lana. Good morning, Brandy. Oh, Sally, I miss you. I was thinking about coming on and playing some Fortnite today because I spent all weekend playing Grounded, and I think that the guys are like wanting to take a break, but I keep going on the game. So they're like, all right, we'll just go on. So I think I might just give them a break today, and I might play some Fortnite. But I miss the shit out of you. I see you guys all up in the chat all the time, and I'm just like, ugh, I have nothing to say. I don't know what to say. So I just stay quiet and watch you guys. But it's good to see you all playing too as well. So it's sunny and cold over there, Holly. That's right. That's how it is over here too. It's like really sunny outside, but yesterday like it was really sunny, but we didn't hit over like 49 degrees. And last night when I was sitting outside, it was like 32. So it's definitely getting really cold. Yeah, there goes. Okay, I figure I'm annoying you guys, so I figured I'd give you guys a little bit of a break, maybe if you wanted one. So, thanks again for the game. Yeah, you guys check out Warren yesterday. He did some video gaming yesterday. I think. What did you played? City Skylines again. And I totally missed it, but I watched the replay and it was a lot of fun. So go check out Extra Boya on his YouTube channel and go watch his gaming stream. It's a fucking blast. The City Skylines is kind of like you're in God mode and you build a city. And I can't wait till like he starts really building the city because there's some really fun stuff that you can do in those games, like torture the shit out of everybody in the game. So no, okay, so you've been feeling the same thing too? Okay, I feel bad now. No, not at all. I absolutely love the game. I figured like last night since what's his name? Shake and Bacon didn't come on. I'm like, he's probably sick of us. He's so sick of us. Okay, good. You enjoy playing with us. It's cold out there in Brooklyn too. 37 feels like 30. Holy crap. Let me check because now you got me all curious to see what's the temperature out here right now. It is 44 degrees. Yeah, it's fucking cold. I got my heater on, so I'm happy. And I got my blanket. So I got my blanket today. I got my heater, so I'm going to stay warm. Lots of stuff has been going on throughout the weekend. Lots of really sad stuff. Lots of interesting, funny stuff. You all know. It's cold as fuck today. Yeah, it is. It's absolutely cold. So the things I probably am going to talk about today, there goes a fire ambulance person, is the whole Trump bringing back Elon back to Twitter, Trump not wanting to, that whole thing. Then plant-based chicken, rice, and soup. You wore my scarf, hat, and puffy jacket. I fucking bet. I bet. It's got to be freezing out there. Good morning, Eddie. Good to see you. Nice to meet you. Welcome to the Twitch channel. We're trying to grow up on my Twitch channel as well. So if you can give me a follow, that would be awesome. I'm so used to like YouTube where it's like hit the like button. It helps with the algorithms. I have no idea what I'm saying anymore. I'm done. I'm over it. I'm fired. I fired myself. So the second thing, a couple other things I wanted to talk about. Obviously, this weekend there was the shooting at the Club Q in Colorado, so we will definitely go over that. You can't stand the cold now. Feel like an old man. Cool. Nice. Thanks for stopping by on the Twitch. It's really, really awesome of you. I enjoy the Twitch area. It's a lot of fun. The next one I want to talk about, Shoe on Head actually did a tweet last night, and it was really, really good. Ended up finding out that there was these new ads for Balenciaga, kind of geared towards the children, and they actually like zoomed in on one of the ads and the pictures of the Balenciaga thing and found out like some kind of like child essay court case papers in the picture. It was freaking wild. So definitely want to show that off. The girl that threw the paint on the Van Gogh painting got an interview on BBC, and she also did an interview talking about that situation, which I thought was going to be really interesting to let you guys all know about. Yeah, get over on the Twitch, Les Bones. That's what I'm talking about. That's awesome. So I love the way that she was talking about it, because she talks about she discusses a lot of the things that a lot of the media people were talking about, of how are you gonna, how are you gonna ruin art just to make a statement and stuff, and she discusses it. So I thought that that was really cool and interesting. And then last but not least, last night, one of the MSNBC channels, mainstream news channels, decided to do a 20-minute documentary story about natives being put in Catholic schools in America, and how that's running, or how that's going, trying to find those children, trying to get justice, all that stuff. Now they were doing it in Canada. Now they're doing it in America. And so they decided that they were going to, I don't know, do a little piece on it. So we're going to sit there and make fun of MSNBC, but talk about the goodness of all of those, the people that have been suffering for all these years, and just how open-minded and caring they still are. It was a really, really good little piece. Twitch, baby. That's what I'm talking about. That's right. So this weekend, INN News had their 1-year anniversary. They did an all-day stream. It was just all their shows. Everybody that had a show, they found like their own little clips throughout their shows, and put it out on Saturday for like their little hour section. It was a lot of fun to be able to watch. Trying to keep up with all the different shows throughout the whole day was fucking wild. It was wild. But it was a lot of fun. And then at the end of the day on Saturday, I was able to go on to Warren's show for his secret show at night, which was the last show of the all-day anniversary shows of INN. So I felt honored. That was really, really cool. I know, Les Phones, I love the Twitch emotes. They're my favorite. They're like my absolute favorite. I love like the other people's emotes, the actual like streamers emotes, because some of them move, and I think that's really cool. Like the regular Twitch emotes, they don't move, so, but they're still fun. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, the INN thing. So I was really honored to be able to do that, be able to be a part of that at the end of the night. That was really cool. And then we had a lot of fun on Warren's show. We started a little bit late. So we did like an hour and a half show. So it was really nice. It was a lot of fun. And then just pretty much relaxed the whole weekend. We had meetings yesterday, trying to hopefully maybe bring in some newer people here. That way I can get some help, so I'm not doing all of this stuff by myself, which I'm still doing a lot of it by myself. So hoping soon. Got a lot of plans. The meetings this weekend was figuring out a lot of plans that are coming up. We got a cool events coming up at the end of the year. A repeat of last year. Hopefully we're going to be able to do, I believe we're going, well, I know we're going to do it. We're going to do a New Year's Eve show again. But this year we're going to be collaborating with a whole new team. Last year we did it with Sabby Sabs, and this year I guess she is planning on going out for New Year's, which is awesome. So not going to be collaborating with her on this New Year's Eve stream. We got a whole new team that we're going to be collaborating with. I guess I might as well just say it because it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to be having the guys over at Chicago Corner and Hardlands Media. Sorry, that's who we're collaborating this this New Year's for our New Year's Eve party, all day live stream. So we're going to be meeting throughout this whole month to be scheduling that and fixing that and trying to get all that ready to go. So that's going to be a lot of fun. I'm really excited to be able to do that with them this year. Those guys are a friggin' blast. So I can't wait to see what they're going to be putting up for their spots on their times during the live stream show, and hopefully we'll be able to join them during their panels as well. So that's going to be a lot of fun. So did I see Mike and Pizer's documentary about DeSantis? I have not, but I would love to see that. Oh shit, Secret Show falls on New Year's Eve too? Well shit, maybe we'll just bring you over here onto the New Year's Eve thing, and we'll just do like an end. We haven't figured out, I know that early in the day for the stream is gonna be Jerry and Kits and all of their panels. They're going to have the daytime. We're going to take over the nighttime. I know we're going to have some of our people on theirs, and they're going to have some of them on ours. So we're going to be switching it up, trying to figure out what kind of panels we want, discussions we want for, each couple of hours or each hour or whatever we want to do. But that would be fun, actually, to bring your secret show on to the end of the night. That way we can have like a final, countdown to New Year's kind of thing. I think that would be fun. My cats are obsessed with my computer desk this morning. I don't know why. So I think that would be fun. That would be a lot of fun. We'll talk about it. We still got like a month and a half left to even think, so we'll figure it out. Yes, Chicago Corner and Hardlands Media. Yay, I'm so excited. We just had Chicago Corner on it for a little bit, for about a week now. We've been talking about Chicago Corner, but I told Shane, I was like, let's get Kid on there. Let's bring like the whole HLM crew. I want to hang out with Kira. I want to hang out with Lainey. I want to hang out with all the girls. Like, I want a girl panel too. So definitely gonna be, yeah, exactly, cat cam, right? Here she goes. See, I don't know what her obsession is today with my computer desk, but her and Mr. Boy Kitty, Mr. Burton, are obsessed with it today, and I don't know why. What's your guys' problem? Why are you guys obsessed with the with my desk today? I don't understand. They'll figure it out. Oh, cool! You're gonna be tracking Santa Claus on Christmas. That's so fun. Hi. She's so weird. Yeah, Burton is being a brat, but this is little Miss Izzy. I don't know what her problem is today. She just wants attention. Oh, the babies. She's so cute. Oh, that's probably what it is. Yep. I didn't even think about that. The computer's all warm. She's like, seriously, like just doing some hardcore netting right now too. She's like, yeah, get it. I know, he is just the cutest. He's a pain in my ass this morning though. Oh, he's back. He's like right there running around. I don't know why Mama's being so nice this morning. Hello. So let me know what you guys are doing for this holiday week. We don't plan on doing too much. I don't really like to celebrate Thanksgiving. It's not really a very positive holiday for me. Well, for most of America, just a lot of Americans, they love holidays. So I don't know what I plan on doing. I don't know. Maybe going out to dinner. I'm possibly. So, okay, you sent the video in Slack. Oh, Miss Izzy too. Yes, I know. She's super lovey right now. I don't know what her problem is. She just doesn't want to get off my lap. But let me know what you guys are doing this week for the holiday weekend. Any kind of cool special plans going on? Like I said, I probably don't. I was going to do some Thanksgiving dinner type stuff just for the three of us here at home, but Miss Little One wants to go to her grandma's for the weekend for the holiday, because grandma likes to do things more than I do. So I'm pretty sure she just wants to go and hang out with grandma's house with her sister and stuff. So she's going to be gone. So it's just going to be me and the hubby at home. So I don't know if there's really much to anything to do for Thanksgiving, even if we do celebrate it. So, I was thinking maybe going out to dinner, but then if it's that much of a holiday, I don't think anybody's going to be working or anything's going to be open. So I don't know. I'll figure it out. Maybe I'll just buy myself a giant pie and just sit at home and eat it all day. You're hanging out with the kiddos? Awesome. Thanksgiving special at Michael's. Oh, that's right. Going shopping. I love that. Your cats want to take over the show. Yeah, they do. They absolutely do. That's them for you. They love the attention, huh, mamas? Yeah, they're just taking up all the attention. Good morning, Robert. Good to see you. What else is going on with you guys? Okay, so yeah, you're just hanging out. Brandy's gonna be hanging out with the kiddos, and Holly's going to be shopping. Oh yeah, that's right. They do like the what is it right after Thanksgiving? It's the Black Friday. God, it's like Black Friday has lost its touch the way that it used to. Like it was just like stampedes of people every day, or on like Friday mornings at all different kinds of stores. And now it's like they do Black Friday throughout the whole week, so there's just not that craziness anymore. So it's wild to me to see it. Oh, a Michael's Diner. Okay. I'm thinking the Michael's crafting store. I'm like, go shopping, girl, get it. Yes, good morning. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Robert. Good to see you. Okay, so yeah, Michael's Diner. So that's what I kind of want to do. I want to just go like and eat somewhere so that way I don't have to cook. I hate cooking, but I want turkey. Like I really, because I love the tryptophan. I love the sleeping part. I love, taking the nap right afterwards. So I'm hoping maybe if we do go out to eat somewhere that there's going to be turkey. That's all I care about is the turkey part. You asked your oldest daughter what she wants for Christmas, and she just said baby stuff. Oh yeah, that's right, because she's preggo. It's a babies. I love babies, but babies hate me for some reason. I think I scare babies. It's like anytime I get around a baby, they always cry around me until they're about 2 or 3 years old, and then we're cool. But anytime before that, babies don't want nothing to do with me. They're absolutely terrified. I think that they're scared of me, which I always thought like babies see, like an okay face and they're all right with it, because their babies are very judgmental with looks. Things can scare them very easily, especially looks. I think it's like my dark hair and my dark clothes. They're like, who's this dark creepy creature? So babies don't like me at all. I'm not good with babies. I'm surprised my own kid actually tolerated me throughout her babyhood. I didn't. You didn't? Okay. She didn't handle, so she honestly thinks that she belongs to another mother. She thinks that I'm not her mom. You gotta love kids. You gotta love the Minecraft going on in the background too. That's gonna be interesting to see. It's like every time I look at the camera, that's all I see is that moving around back there. Yeah, I can see your Minecraft. Yeah, and I can also see my ring light that's in the reflection of the TV. This is gonna be fun today. Okay. So I went on for about 22 minutes, so I guess I can get started. I know, exactly. I'm like straight out of a Tim Burton film. I know, and I think kids and babies notice it. It's so bad, but it's great. I get a good laugh out of it. I don't like kids anyway, so it works for me. Keep them away. That's less work I have to do. Like when my sister had right, exactly. It's a compliment. My sister had her baby about 1.5 years ago, and he just would not come near me at first. And my sister's like, "What's wrong with you? He doesn't like you." And I'm like, "What are you talking about? That's less work for me. Enjoy, please. I don't have to do shit. I'll be outside smoking if you need me." uh, so that's yes. I enjoy that. I'm very happy that babies don't like me because it's mutual. So. Okay. Miss Kitty, what are you doing? She's like attacking my stuff on my lap. Okay. So I've got our first thing for news today. This weekend, really sad news. Exactly, babies when they see Jimmy. So this weekend, there was a shooting out in Colorado. I guess you can't wait. I know. I bet it's got to be really awesome. It's got to feel really amazing to be able to, have that like, grandparent, like, cause I'm really quick. I mean, I'm like a step grandma, so I know how that feels. It's a really awesome feeling to see a kid that you've seen when they were a child have a kid of their own. And then, like seeing that little kid grow up. I don't know what it is to be a full-on grandma yet. My children are still too young to have kids. Let's hope they stay that way. Like you.
What?
You're too young to have children.
Never.
She said never. You're gross. So they're still too young. I'm still too young to be a grandma, but I am a step grandma, which is awesome. So I love it. It's so awesome to see the life of a life, just growing and all. It's so beautiful. So yeah, I absolutely love it. Okay, so this weekend there was a shooting out in Colorado at the they're saying that in that area it's the only LGBTQ plus safe space for them. So I got a couple, or I got a video we can watch, and then I found some interesting information out about the suspect. Fun. You're only 41? Oh God, don't say that to me. Don't tell me that. I'm gonna be 41 in like 4 years. And by then my oldest will be 21. So she could be old enough to have babies by then. Ay. That's some scary stuff. So yeah, let's watch the video, and then I'll bring up the tweets and stuff that I found out about this information, which was really interesting.
Colorado community is reeling after a massacre at a popular LGBTQ plus club in Colorado Springs claimed at least 5 lives. More than 24 people were hurt. In response to the brutal attack, the state's openly gay governor said, "My heart breaks." First responders arrived on the scene just minutes after the first call came in of a gunman opening fire. Witnesses say 2 heroic patrons inside stopped the shooter. Police say the 22-year-old suspect was armed with an assault-style rifle, and they're now investigating the incident as a possible hate crime. The suspect was injured and apprehended at the scene. Law enforcement officials tell ABC News that he was arrested last year after an alleged bomb threat incident. Tonight, a memorial is growing at the scene of the attack with flowers and notes left in honor of the victims. And President Biden released a statement saying we cannot and must not tolerate hate. We have team coverage beginning with ABC's chief national correspondent Matt Gutman from Colorado Springs.
Tonight, that deadly shooting inside an LGBTQ nightclub in Colorado Springs.
We do have multiple criticals.
5 people killed, at least 25 wounded in the latest mass shooting to rip into a community in America. Clothes and medical supplies left strewn on the sidewalk, remnants of the panic and chaos there. Survivor Joshua Thurman was celebrating his birthday and was dancing inside Club Q.
This guy's story, man, listening to this guy made me cry yesterday when I saw this.
Nightclub of its kind in this city when he heard the gunshots.
It was so scary. I heard shots, broken glass, bodies. It was, how? Why?
Police say the alleged gunman, 22-year-old Anderson Lee Aldrich, who had been charged in connection with bomb threats against his parents last year, was armed with an AR-style rifle and multiple magazines. Club Q had been hosting a drag show when he entered, opening fire immediately. Officials describing 2 club goers as heroes tonight. Did the suspect surrender?
So we actually had 2 incredibly brave, at least 2 incredibly brave citizens that were inside the club. And as soon as they could, they grabbed onto him and detained him for us. And they potentially stopped a lot of people from getting killed.
Police say the initial call about an active shooter came in just before midnight. Officers dispatched to the scene.
And that's, that's a really sad point that we're at right now, with the fighting of, getting rid of automatic weapons and trying to figure out that even balance between what our Second Amendment constitutes and what is over the top and just too much that the writers of the Constitution never even fathomed could happen, and trying to find that medium point with this situation. It's now gotten to a point where people are owning more guns and police are doing a lot less, to where now you've got to have regular citizens acting like superheroes now trying to stop it, when it's not their job. It wasn't their job to begin with. It's nothing that they've ever trained for, but it's something that we all feel like needs to happen now, because it's that mentality of no one else is going to do it for us, so we've got to do it for ourselves now. And that's the sadness of having rugged individualism in America, because people of authority and people who are supposed to be protecting and serving aren't really doing their jobs at all. So now the people feel like they have to do it themselves. So get back to work. Love you, Warren. Enjoy the rest of your day at work, and I hope you have fun, and I will enjoy my show. Thank you very much for stopping by. I love you to death. And you guys go check out Warren tonight. If you scroll through your recommendations on YouTube and you see Warren's show notification for today, just click the notify me button. That way you won't miss it. He is going to be having Willie Braggs on tonight, which is going to be exciting. So can't wait to watch that. I think that's at like 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, I believe. So don't forget to go check out Warren tonight with Willie Braggs. That's going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait to see it. All right, let's get back to this.
Within about 3 minutes, 2 minutes after that, they say the alleged gunman was detained. Police said the suspect suffered injuries and had to be hospitalized. Authorities say at least 2 guns, including that AR-style rifle, were recovered at the scene, and the massacre is being investigated as a
Hey, Warren, maybe you can talk to maybe you and Willie tonight can talk about how like we all got attacked by NAFO yesterday. Yesterday was crazy with the NAFO trolls.
hate crime.
I just don't understand what leads people to do something so hateful, so evil to anybody, much less, targeting any particular groups of people.
And tonight, we're learning more about those who were killed, including 28-year-old Daniel Davis Aston, who worked as a bartender at the club. His mother telling ABC News her youngest son, Daniel, was amazing and that he was our baby. President Biden releasing a statement late today calling the attack senseless, saying we cannot and must not tolerate hate. And the nation's first openly gay governor, Jared Polis, speaking out.
And an entire community traumatized and frankly, really LGBTQ people across the country seeing what happened in Orlando and now happened here.
And that club goer, Joshua Thurman, wondering tonight if he and others in the local LGBTQ community can ever feel safe again.
What are we supposed to do? Where are we supposed to go? How are we supposed to feel safe in our environment when it just got shot up?
The entire community deeply wounded. Matt joins us now from the scene in Colorado Springs. And Matt, you just spoke with the police chief. What did he say about the direction of this investigation?
Lindsay, the chief said they're going through a tremendous amount of evidence. You can see some of that work happening behind me. They're talking to eyewitnesses. There is surveillance video of the moment of the attack as well that they're pouring over. But they're also trying to ascertain how it was that the suspect obtained that AR-style weapon and when he did it and whether it was lawful for him to do so given those charges that he faced last year, which included kidnapping and bomb threats. Lindsay.
All right, questions about the red flag laws in place. Matt, thank you.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here.
Thanks for checking them out. I totally just spaced and forgot that I was even watching that. Jesus Christ. I am tired today. So what I found on Twitter this morning or last night when it came to all of this stuff. Now, I know that this doesn't like this part right here. It's not, like it's not. It is a big deal, but it's not a big deal. It doesn't really mean anything, but it could. They're the worst memes I've ever seen. So this guy posted up last night that the Colorado Springs shooter is reportedly the grandson of a Republican representative, Randy Vopel. Don't care that he supported all of that stuff. I don't know why they posted this. Oh, okay. So Anderson Lee Aldrich is the 22-year-old suspect accused of perpetrating a mass shooting. The November 19th attack left 5 dead, 25 injured. The shooter burst into the nightclub with a long rifle and opened fire inside just before midnight. He was subdued by heroic patrons who were credited with saving lives. One disarmed the suspect and beat him with his own gun. Good job, guy. No officers fired shots. 2 firearms were located at the scene. This kid, who remains hospitalized, is facing 10 charges according to the court records. He was charged with 5 counts of first-degree murder and 5 counts of bias-motivated crimes causing bodily injury. It's not yet known when his first court appearance will be. Heavy has confirmed that this kid is the grandson of an outgoing Republican state assembly member, the former mayor of Santee, California. Crazy. Vopel represents the 71st district of the San Diego area. Wow. There were calls to expel Vopel from the state assembly after he made comments comparing January 6th attack to on the Capitol to the Revolutionary War. This kid's mother has written posts praising Randy on Facebook and confirming that he is her father. This is Lexington and Concord. First shots fired against tyranny. Randy Vopel, who was defeated in a Republican primary in August 2022, said in a San Diego Union Tribune article 3 days after January 6th, he said tyranny. I don't care what he says about January 6th. The first 2 victims in the club were bartenders, Derek Rump and Daniel Aston. That's these 2 amazing, beautiful men right here, who were remembered in tributes for their kindness and vibrant personalities. The mass shooting occurred just before the Transgender Day of Remembrance on November 20th, an annual observance that honors the memory of the transgender people whose lives were lost in acts of anti-transgender violence. According to GLAAD, Aston identified as transgender. Aldrich was arrested in 2021 after his mother reported to police that he was threatening to harm her with a homemade bomb and multiple weapons. According to the El Paso County Sheriff's Office, he was arrested after a standoff and charged with 5 felonies, according to a press release at the time, but he was not prosecuted. The El Paso County District Attorney has not commented on why the case was dropped. I could probably tell you because his father was an assembly member and got him out, most likely. District Attorney said the Colorado Springs shooting is being investigated through the lens of a hate crime. Authorities said that he is a 22-year-old male. They have not released a photo of him. The photos Heavy has found are a few years old, so he looks younger in them than he likely looks today. Some people are falsely sharing a picture of Raleigh, North Carolina Christmas parade suspect Landon Glass on Twitter, saying it's him, but Glass had nothing to do with this shooting. This is the family member of one of the people that had passed. Jim and Sabrina Aston's son died last night at Club Q. He was a bartender, but last night he was also performing. He was a trans man, and they feel strongly that speaking out may help others. This is a photo of them holding a photo of Dan at 5 years old. Oh, it is. It's really sad. I hate this. I fucking hate it. Other victims have not been identified. 2 are in critical condition. Of the 25 wounded, 19 suffered gunshot wounds while others were injured fleeing, according to CNN. The shooting broke out just the night before, on midnight, the night before, on an evening when the nightclub was hosting a drag show. It came in as an active shooting, Castro said. Police chief said that in a news conference that police are working tirelessly to make sure that justice is achieved. Club Q is a safe haven for our LGBTQ citizens, Vasquez says, adding that all citizens have a right to feel safe in Colorado Springs. This is saying, here's what you need to know about the suspect. His grandfather ran for office on a platform against the swamp, and whose mother once tried to find a private boxing coach for him, immediately began shooting. Okay. Online records show him living in an apartment complex in Colorado Springs. Records indicate he shares that address with his mother, who works as a support engineer and previously lived in California. Laura has praised her father, outgoing California State Representative Randy Vopel, in Facebook posts. Keep up the work, Dad. You work hard to improve our lives, and a lot of us take notice. On this kid's birthday, she wrote, my boy's 15th birthday. He got head to toe military suit and is surfing cloud nine. So they're very, very, very. It seems like this news article is just making them look like they're extremely gun happy. Let's see. Heavy was not able to find any social media profiles, but Facebook posts made his mother reveal he had been dealing with mental health issues. She often posted about her son in a Facebook group for women involved in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in the Colorado Springs area. Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints just got into some big fucking trouble for keeping quiet an SA victim with her dad for like years, and is now being sued. So they're not the best of the best either. On one post in July 2021, she asked for help finding a criminal defense attorney. She says, hello, sisters. Does anyone know of a fantastic defense attorney? I asked this with a heavy heart, but my family really needs some help at this time. We have cash to retain good counsel. Thank you. Her post about needing a criminal defense attorney came just after her son was arrested. In February 2022, she wrote, can anyone please recommend a great trauma PTSD therapist? It indicated it was for a 21-year-old, which he was that age at that time. She asked in May 2022, can anybody refer my son to a private boxing coach? He's 6'6" and hits like a freight train, cannot find a good gym or anyone serious. He made huge life changes and needs this. So I guess, defending himself, fighting, sticking up for himself. I don't know what she was trying to do. The parents of kids that the parents act like this, it's very, very hard to figure out why they do the things they do. It's like, I don't know, even if the kids aren't even really that bad, they tend to do this kind of stuff to them, like turn them into what they want them to be. So yeah, exactly. A big problem is the fact that authorities let him go last time. It is mental health issues. Yeah. Obviously, I say this as a parent of a son with mental illness. Yeah, absolutely. Does anyone, then she also wrote, does anyone have an extra heavy duty fan they would like to donate to my son? He's in an apartment and it's 80 degrees, no fan. So she just goes around asking for all kinds of free stuff. Randy was defeated after redistricting forced two Republicans to run against each other. Heavy reached out to his office to seek comment. Randy Vopel was elected to represent California's 71st district in 2016 before joining the assembly. Randy served on the Santee City Council between 1996 and 2000. Oh, Santee. Sounds interesting that a Republican white man would be in that area, but okay. And then served as mayor between 2000 and 2016. Randy's a Vietnam veteran, serving 2 tours in the conflict with the U.S. Navy. After leaving the service, he worked nearly 40 years in the insurance industry. Randy and his wife, Susan, live in Santee, where they raised their 2 children. After this news article was first to report the suspect's familial tie to Randy Vopel, the Denver Gazette also confirmed the relationship. Colorado Springs police chiefs told the assembled media that Aldrich, the kid, had entered the nightclub and opened fire. The suspect entered and immediately began shooting people. At least 2 heroic people confronted and stopped him from being able to harm others. The witnesses were not identified. The FBI on the scene and police were still working to identify the victims who had died. The kid used a long rifle. First 911 call reporting an active shooting came in at just 11:57 p.m. The suspect was in the hospital, but she did not know the gunman's condition or how the shooter sustained the injuries. He probably, they said he beat him up with his own gun, so he probably got some bashes in his head. In a press conference, Castro said police responded within seconds. By midnight, the first officer arrived. The suspect was in custody, she said, and Vasquez told the media the shooting lasted about 1 minute. The locals, or the suspect was located inside They said that we had numerous people transported to multiple local hospitals by ambulance and police vehicles. They said they did get numerous calls. Let's see what this says. Never mind, I'm not watching that. That's 37 minutes long. Jesus Christ. He was previously involved in a standoff following a bomb threat.
It's with a heavy heart I have to tell you that we had a shooting at a local. No.
Yeah, that's going to go on forever. I don't want to sit there and listen to that. In 2021, he was charged in a false bomb threat situation in the neighborhood of Colorado Springs. That coincides with the time frame in which his mother was seeking criminal defense attorney. According to June 18, 2021 press release, there were said that her son was threatening to cause harm to her with a homemade bomb, multiple weapons, and ammunition. The reporting party was not in the home at the time when she made the call and was not sure where her son was. This I do have, I believe right here. This person says that they're scrubbing and deleting the emails and text messages he got sent to his grandson to get him out of, it says it's got him out of 5 felonies. So here's the police report for it. It sounds like they're trying to scrub it and get rid of it. Santee is in California. We have a Santee Alley as well. It's pretty much downtown, well, not downtown, but like the LA San Diego area. There's a district over there. So this is from a police report on June 18th, 2021. Approximately almost about 2 p.m., deputies responded to a report of a bomb threat. The reporting party said her son was threatening to cause harm to her with a homemade bomb, multiple weapons, and ammunition. The reporting party was not in the home. Deputies responded to the home after further investigation, realized the suspect, date of birth, born in 2000, was approximately 1 mile away from the address. The deputies contacted the suspect by phone, and he refused to comply with orders to surrender. Tactical support unit, which includes regional explosive units, arrived and took over the scene. At about 4:15, as a precaution, deputies began evacuating approximately 10 homes in the area. At 4:39, text notification was also sent out to homes within a quarter-mile radius. And then at 5:46, crisis negotiation unit was successful in getting the suspect to comply with orders. He walked out of the front door of the home and was apprehended. The regional explosives unit cleared both homes and did not find any explosive device. He was booked into the El Paso County Jail on the following charges: 2 counts of felony menacing, 3 counts of first-degree kidnapping. A mugshot will be released at a later time. That's the police report that they have for that. So authorities responded in 2021. Eventually he did comply. Authorities would not comment on any past criminal histories for this kid. No ongoing court cases listed for him in Colorado court records. No formal charges were ever filed, and the case was sealed. So it's not clear why. His grandfather's a congressman, so of course. Aldrich told the Gazette in a voicemail that there's absolutely nothing there. The case was dropped, and I'm asking you to either remove or update the story. The entire case was dismissed, of course, because he's got power. So the Gazette questioned why this arrest did not activate Colorado's red flag law. Good question. Yeah, right. There is a Rome, Georgia. Exactly. The club held a drag show. So here is, it looks like the picture of the drag show. Authorities have said that the motive in the gay club attack is still under investigation. However, in a statement, the club referred to it as a hate attack. The club wrote on a Facebook page that they're devastated by the senseless attack on their community. Their prayers and thoughts are with all the victims, of the families and friends. They think the quick reaction of heroic customers that subdued the gunman and ended this hate attack. The look on his face, the determination, that anger as he entered the building, the club owner says. He said the shooter was on a definite mission. The outlet reported, adding that police have said a motive remains unclear. Authorities said they are still investigating whether the shooting was a hate crime. Club Q was stated to host 2 drag events over the weekend in celebration of Transgender Day of Remembrance. The night of the attack, the club hosted a drag show that started at 9 p.m. Around that time of the attack, the club posted another upcoming drag event, said, let's prep for a fantastic Sunday fun day. Doors open at 11 a.m., and then that's when that happened. According to Castro, authorities didn't know whether minors were at the event. Leslie Bowman told the New York Times, oh, there's Laura Vogel. That's the suspect's mother. Looks like a Karen. 2021 standoff occurred at her home. Man, these guys are just going on and on and on. His mom called me and said, don't come home right now. There's some people looking for Andy. Bowman told the newspaper. Vogel moved out 2 days later, and Bowman never heard from her again. She said, but she told the Times that police visited about a month ago seeking to check on his welfare. Huge emergency response near Club Q. Authorities would not say whether he said anything during the shooting. Club goers stopped the man cold, according to a club owner. He saved dozens and dozens of lives. One customer took down the government and was assisted by another. One victim collapsed at a 7-Eleven store nearby. A man named Tanner wrote on Facebook that he escaped the mass shooting. Here's his thing. He said, last night I experienced something I never thought I would ever have to experience, and I hope that no one ever does. I just moved to Colorado about a week ago, decided to go to one of the popular LGBTQ plus clubs. Club Q, in the area to watch a drag show, make friends, and have fun. Near the end of the night, I was waiting for my Uber back home. A man by the name of Anderson entered the club with a rifle and began shooting people. 5 people were shot and killed. At least 18 reported injured. I was lucky to be able to get out of the club and to safety. Many others were not lucky. I'm not going to turn this into an argument on gun control, on LGBTQ plus rights, on the role of police officers. Last night, I was witness to a disgusting and terrifying tragedy, and my heart goes out to the beautiful people I was able to meet that night. My thoughts are with the families of the victims, and I hope that the person behind this disgusting and inhumane act is brought to justice. So what I had found on here as well, another one, here's another one in here where Heavy was saying that he was arrested after a standoff and charged with 6 felonies, but he was not prosecuted, records show. El Paso County District Attorney has not commented on why the case was dropped. Everybody in Twitter is literally talking about, isn't it obvious? The guy was a grandson to, here's the thought as to why. So this one put, Colorado Springs police literally devoted more time and energy versus trying to infiltrate and spy on the city's local tenant orgs, DSA chapters, and anti-war group protest groups than they did try to thwart a known far-right terrorist. Okay. That's just that guy's opinion. I honestly, truly think that this guy probably got away with a lot of it because of his grandfather. Yeah, it just doesn't seem... But that's the thing too, is like a lot of these white kids, when they're, before they do something big like this, when they have their little precursors, they usually get away with a lot of that. That does happen a lot. This guy, man, his like grandfather is disgusting. Aldrich is the grandson of Assembly Randy Vopel. I believe that's it on these guys. Let's see if this says anything else. No, that's all of it. Okay. A man wrote in the thing last night to all victims at Club Q, I'm very sorry for our country, or our country refuses to do better. Last night you had to join a growing list. My condolences of the 5 that passed away, their friends, may they rest in peace. To the 18, I pray for your full recovery. So yeah, that's it. Obviously it has to do with mental health. This kid has been getting away with a lot of stuff. There's been definitely red flags. Colorado does have a red flag law. Should have came in and got, flagged for his actions. But when it comes to, right-wing white people, they tend to seem to get away with a lot more, and then stuff like this happens. They don't know whether or not it's a hate crime. It does seem to me, at least in my own opinion, it does seem like this guy definitely just didn't like the drag show, which is a lot of right-wing talking points. They always say that a lot. He probably just got to a point where, he wanted to go and hurt them, which is absolutely wrong and horrible and shocking and disgusting. And I'm really, really feel bad for these families, for these victims. I'm super sad about the people that had passed. Like, it just, man, it really kills me, because they're regular people, they're just like us. They breathe oxygen, they bleed red. There's no difference. It's just a really sad situation. Good morning, Amber. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for liking. Yeah, you guys, if you guys have a chance, hit the like button. If you're not subscribed here, please subscribe. Thank you for joining me this morning. So that's that. Man, it's a really sad situation, and I hate seeing it because it happens over and over and over again. It just, like that guy said himself, he never wanted them to be on this growing list, but here they are. It's a really, really sad situation, and I'm really upset about it. Let me bring up the next one. So, this weekend, Balenciaga did a ad campaign for some more of their stuff, just, trying to sell their stuff. And I thought that Shoe on Head did a really good job on talking about this. So it started off with Balenciaga leaving Twitter following Elon Musk's takeover, a luxury fashion house. Balenciaga is leaving Twitter. They even deleted all of their Instagram posts, even though they have like 14 million followers. They completely deleted all of their everything. And then what was really interesting is she noticed that there was a photo shoot for their new stuff. So she says the brand Balenciaga just did an interesting photo shoot for their new products, which included a very purposefully poorly hidden court document about virtual CP. As she says, normal stuff for them, CBS left too. Yeah, a lot of people are just up and leaving Twitter. Everybody's leaving Twitter. It's fucking hilarious to watch. But they did this photo shoot for these like child stuff. See, like, so here's some Balenciaga stuff for kids, very S&M looking. There's some more stuff for the children, like blankets, purses, blah, blah, blah. So here's where it starts to get a little bit creepy. So here is a purse that they're trying to sell in a desk, full of papers and things like that. But if you zoom into this piece of paper right here, which is what they did, it'll say that is exhausting. It is not sexual, but rather sexual something, even though Speech Coalition, it's so hard to read. I could read this so much better last night on the phone. There's the word pornography or sex between blank, 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 blank. Can't read the rest. Might be something by the term. Overrated to hell. Fuck that rich people brand, all their stuff. Yeah, exactly. It's fucking disgusting. But it's absolutely wild to me that, like, when you set up photo shoots to sell things, you look at every little piece that's on there. You make sure that it's perfect. like perfect. There's nothing wrong with it. Like the photo shoot looks good. The picture looks good. Why would you even have something that's printed about this on there? Like there's words in here like pornography or sex between. Like this is some kind of court case that has to do with, child CP. So that's what didn't make sense to me is like this right here, which you'll see is like the buckle for this right here is actually this piece of paper right here. So they just zoomed in right there onto this Balenciaga's website photo and zoomed in right there and read that. And this is what they're saying, which is like disgusting to me. It's absolutely so fucking gross that they found this and that Balenciaga is just doing this. Like it's just a normal thing to do, I guess. I have no fucking clue. It's disgusting. Yeah, she's got some good takes sometimes. Absolutely. I thought that it was gross that they even wanted to put something on there like this. I guess Jackson Hinkle wrote back on it. This person said what's probably happening is one is Twitter is being stricter about sexually explicit material involving children. So 2, Balenciaga got told they can't post their fetish bondage teddy bear shit. Being very committed to the bit, they 3 deleted their Twitter. Let's see. This woman says, wow, the most popular hashtag used to sell SA for children material on Twitter is almost completely cleaned out. I'm not going to post the hashtag for obvious reasons, but if any organization, law enforcement, or journalist wants me to send them the hashtag information, I will. It's public information, but I don't want to broadcast it because there's still 3 old tweets available. Here, let me make this a little bit bigger. Correction, the 3 biggest hashtags used by child abusers selling this stuff on Twitter have virtually been eliminated. She said this is huge. Balenciaga seems to be cutting problematic people out of its life 1 month after the luxury fashion house became the first company to drop its association with Ye. Balenciaga has now quit Elon Musk. The Paris-based brand owned by fashion conglomerate Kering has deleted its profile from Twitter after Elon Musk's arrival stoked fears over the direction of the social media platform. Probably because Elon is not for kiddie stuff. And Balenciaga is like all for it, and it's disgusting. But they really don't watch or follow her, to be honest. Yeah. Balenciaga has not elaborated on why it chose to delete its account and leave behind the 1 million followers it had on the platform. But the move comes at a time when changes to Twitter's verification policy has led to the proliferation of imposter accounts. So somebody needs to make an imposter account of Balenciaga and say that they, enjoy kidnapping little children and get them in trouble. Shit. Be the trolls that we want. I mean, yeah, I see like, the S&M bears is probably a little too much for the kids. I see that more of like an adult stuffed animal for sure. Especially like the blue one. The white one I don't see too much of a problem with. Not too much, but yeah, the blue one has a little bit of a dungeon strap kind of thing on that kind of seems a little too iffy for my, for a parent. So, here we go. Looks like the case mentioned in the slip opinion is Ashcroft v. Free Speech Coalition, although the full case name is obscured by other paper. In context, that citation would make sense. So here's the picture. Here it is zoomed like we were reading. U.S. Constitution, the act specifically prescribed computer-generated or altered depictions of minors engaged in explicit conduct and images of explicit sexual conduct by adults who resembles minors. The court ruled that the law's expanded definition of CP as included any image that appears to be of a minor engaging in explicit conduct or that is presented in such a manner that conveys the impression it is a minor engaging in that conduct would criminalize images that are not obscene and images that were not produced with any real children. See, it is. They're fucking disgusting. Absolutely gross. The opinion hidden under the bad one is this one. Let's see what this says. U.S. v. Williams, after the court found financially overbroad a federal statutory provision. Regardless of whether it actually was crash, Congress passed the pandering and solicitation provision issue, pleaded guilty to this offense and others, but reserved the right to challenge his pandering conviction constitutionality. The district court rejects the challenge, but the 11th Circuit reversed, finding the statute both overbroad and under the First Amendment and impermissibly vague under the Due Process Clause. So yeah, it does have to do with CP, and it's absolutely disgusting that this company would even do something like this and even add it to the picture, because like, oh, looks like Andrew Tate's back. That these companies, like when they take photo shoots and stuff, they pay attention to every little thing. So they knew that had to be on there. It's really, really disgusting how they're pretending like they didn't see it. I have not seen about his tweet about Alex Jones. I've been seeing his tweets to Trump, like the whole daddy stuff, which is really wild. This one says luxury fashion house Balenciaga is under fire for its new holiday ad campaign, which features young children posing with teddy bears. Absolutely. These kids don't know it's fetish gear, but the adults seeing these pictures do, which is very true. Those are bondage bears. So yeah, that's a little wild. This says the little girl looks scared. Let's see here. Andrew Tate is just back. They're saying way more going on here. So look, there's even more Balenciaga stuff. There's some more paperwork right here. It says Metro Management Service has become the premier boutique property management firm in Northern Virginia and surrounding areas. And then this one in NPR, Missing Kids of Washington. There are many more cases being shared on social media. And yes, about 2,200 kids do go missing in D.C. every year. Over 2,000 kids are reported missing in D.C. every year. That's wild. I don't know how those two go together, but that's still crazy. Another photo, right? With a key on his finger. Yeah, it's probably the key to the lock of the necklace. Okay. Let's see what this one says. Oh, okay. Used to, yep. Balenciaga has left Twitter following Elon Musk's acquisition. Advertisers has raised concern about the risk of loosening content moderation on the site. Interesting. Yeah, I want to, wait, can you send that to me in Discord? I cannot pull that up from StreamYard. I want to see Elon's tweet about, let's look up Elon. Man, this motherfucker is going to be trending forever. Hope all judgy hall monitors stay on other platforms, please. I'm begging you. Our love will never die. He is just too much. This is the stuff that he was doing with Donald Trump, which is fucking hilarious. Like, Donald Trump was like, no, I'm not going to come in. And he's like, I'm not going to come back to Twitter. And Elon over here is like, you want to. He pulled a Kyle Kalinske on Trump. He's like, you want to. Oh, is this why he was wanting to put the World Cup on here? Is because BTS is on? That's going to make him a lot of views. Did you send it to me yet? No, still no. Okay. I'm trying to see his thing with that you're saying about Alex Jones. See, I voted for Trump to come back. I want to see him back. It's going to be so much fun. I think it's going to be a friggin' blast to see everybody losing their shits. Yeah, I'm not seeing it's a reverse psychology trick. Okay, yeah, send it to me on Discord. Looks like you got rid of Trent. What? Looks like Trent Reznor's on. Is this Trent? No. "48 hours, Trump's Twitter and the world still hasn't ended." I want to know why they got into a talk about Trent Reznor from Tool. Twitter is fun. I do see it in the chat. Here, I'm pulling it up right now from Discord. I see it in the chat. I just can't. When I see all the things in the chat in StreamYard, when you hover over all of your guys' things, all it does is give me an option to show it or hide it. I can't actually bring up any of the or highlight any of it. It like highlights it itself and it says, do you want to show or do you want to hide? So I can't even get a okay, yeah, you get it. I do see it in there. I just see all I can do is show it or hide it. That's all I can do, and it fucking sucks. But I got it. Okay, yeah. Oh yeah, about the Alex Jones one. Okay, so is it time to let Alex Jones back on Twitter? If not, why not? Suffer little children and forbid them not to come unto me, for of such is the kingdom of heaven. He said Alex messed up with Sandy Hook. He admitted that and apologized. He also got a lot of conspiracy theories right. If serial liars like Biden and Trump are allowed on Twitter, then Alex Jones should be allowed to. Please reconsider the interest of real free speech. That's Kim.com said. And then Elon tweeted back or replied and said, my firstborn child died in my arms. I felt his last heartbeat. I have no mercy for anyone who would use the death of children for gain, politics, or fame. Which sounds to me more like he is only allowing people on Twitter that doesn't hurt him personally. He's definitely taking Twitter to a personal effect instead of just letting everyone on. Because this is why I think that this should be a public utility. Yeah, we should make social media sites a public utility. If somebody, free speech is free speech. Yeah, exactly. It sounds personal to him. If a person, if we have free speech, I don't think some private company should be able to tell a person whether or not you can say something. I think that we should leave it up to the system, even though our system is extremely not trustworthy. But still, I have that American brainwashed mentality of let a person say what they want because of freedom of speech is a freedom of speech. Doesn't mean that there's not freedom from consequences. There is such thing as hate speech. You probably can get a fine or something for that kind of stuff. Terroristic threats. There's even like stupid laws here in like America where you can go to prison for spitting in someone's eye. So, let the people say what they want to say. Let them be on the platform. If they say something mean and wrong, then, freaking police department's going to show up at their house. I have no idea. So thank you for liking the stream. It's okay. I understand. Thank you for doing it now. But yeah, it seems like he's taking this a little bit personally, a little to the heart, and not allowing Alex Jones to get in. But he did, he did let Trump back on. So Misty says, so when do you start banning all the war criminals? You can start with Biden, right? Who, in addition to being a war criminal, also used the death of not one, but two of his own children for political gain. Go Misty. By the way, I don't want you to ban anyone. This is ridiculous. Personal whim is why. Subjecting the globe to your personal whims is insane. I completely agree. Shuan Head said, your story is heartbreaking, but this is literally just confirmation that you're making rules based on how you personally feel about things. No mercy for, no mercy for, okay, Mr. Merciful Billionaire God, can you just run a website? Like, there are war criminals on here. Good morning, Jim. Good to see you over on Twitch. Yeah, get it, Twitch. If you're not following me on Twitch, please hit the follow button. I'm only trying to get to 100 followers on Twitch. It's not too much. No, it's not. It's not too much. Just 100. Yeah. I think we have about 100 toes and fingers in this house. Huh.
No.
Just kidding, we don't. Let's see. I love how people are using the Twitter is a private company. They can do whatever they want. Yeah, right. Ironically, to make the libs mad. But that's what they always do. You know, they always do that. Like when right after 9/11 and they were taking away a lot of our privacies, even what's his name? The oh my God, I got Julian Assange stuck in my head, and it's not him. It's the other guy that's in Russia right now. He was telling us that, they're spying on us, and they've opened, that's what they're doing is that companies can, like, we can take away some of our freedoms to make sure that the safety of the people is there so they can spy on us. And the conservatives, all I heard in like the mid to late 2000s and the early 2010s was, if you have nothing to hide, then you have nothing to worry about. So like they're like, these conservatives are all about, uber freedom, absolute freedom of speech, freedom of have your own guns and stuff. But like they're willing to give away some of their freedom for terroristic safety, okay, but what about your free speech of wanting somebody to be on a platform? What about a person just wanting to be on a social media platform? How does that make any sense? What's up?
Can I make cookies?
No. No cookies until that area is cleaned up.
No cookies?
No cookies until that's clean.
Why?
You were supposed to do that yesterday and you didn't.
Fine.
Thank you. Anyways, exactly. Yeah, they turned the tables on him. How many cats? I have 3 kitties. Three kitties. Yes, Snowden. Edward Snowden. He's the one that released all the stuff saying that the government was spying on us. We had a form of that type of freedom before all that. But as soon as like 9/11 and all that hit, that was it for like American freedoms. It's this it's like a deal, I guess. When you learn economics and stuff in high school, you learn that the citizens that live on the ground and the people in office who write the constitutions and control the laws and stuff supposedly have this like agreement with each other. We'll take care of you while you give up a little bit of your freedoms. It gives you safety. I don't believe any of it. I think it's bullshit. I think that we shouldn't be giving up anything so they can serve us a little bit more. I don't think that that's how a government should be ran, but that's kind of how we are ran out here. The government will like do bare minimum unless we give up something. So we've got to live in austerity to be able to have some type of, supposed free or supposed safety, but it takes away our freedom. So yeah, exactly. To be honest, I don't care if Alex Jones stays banned or not, but he should be able to come back if Elon really does care about free speech. Absolutely. And that's the weird thing too, is like when the whole thing first started coming around, I guess it's about time for my fucking family to start waking up in this house. Jesus Christ. Oh my God.
Oh my God, that hurts.
Yeah,
Bad.
thanks. You're like messing me up and distracting me.
Okay.
Sheesh. Now I gotta remember what I was talking about. God damn it. Alex Jones stays banned or not, but he should be able to come back if Elon really does. Oh yeah, that's right. That's what I was talking about. Like for a minute there was at the beginning of all of this, there was like AOC and Kyle Kalinske and a couple of them were like, well, I thought you wanted free speech. I thought you really cared about free speech. And I was thinking that too, but I was like, I don't want to think the same thing as AOC and Kyle. Like, I don't want to think, the same route as them. But I'm kind of seeing it now, like with not letting Alex Jones back, in his little excuse as to why it definitely seems like he's just, pretending like it's a free speech platform, but he's not going to let people on that hurt his feelings or, if he takes it personal. So it was general knowledge before Snowden suspected it really started and the Reagan was in office. Yeah, just we kind of just started to find out after 9/11. So let's see who else said anything. Right, just like this woman says, free speech, not free of consequences. While he's free to do as he wants. Like Muscat says, he isn't free of trying to use the death of children to profit and gain. That's a good reason to stay banned. Nothing is a good reason to stay banned, but you go ahead and say what you want, girl. I think Alex Jones is a piece of shit, but you're creating an Elon Musk policy. You have world leaders with accounts who literally drop bombs on children and are refusing. Yeah, right. I know that's another thing too. Like he's allowing, these leaders who drop bomb on kids. Like, what about the kids in Yemen? What about the kids in Syria? What about the kids in Somalia? What about the kids in Puerto Rico? What about all those kids? Like, are you just going to start taking everyone off of Twitter are you really going to take everyone off of Twitter that has harmed a child? Because if you're going to do that to Alex Jones, then you need to do it to these politicians, because these politicians and these CEO owners, corporate owners, make a buttload of money off of the death of children all the time. Look at fucking, what is it? Nestle. Nestle does it really well, especially the backs of, the lives of children in Africa. So I don't think that he's doing it in a right way. I think that he's taking it personally and doing it in a personal way. Troll Trump until he cries. Alex hurt the Sandy Hook parents. That's a stain of shame for the rest of his life. But Biden killed a family with 7 kids in a drone strike, and he's still on Twitter. There we go. Yeah, people are starting to fight back on this. Right? Like these Madeline Albright, Jesus Christ. Yeah, he's allowing a bunch of other people to come on and stay on, but Alex Jones isn't allowed to. Like, so many other people have profited off of the death of children. Here's children in Iran, Wait until you find out what Barack Obama did, right? Teens killed in U.S. drone strikes. Should have had more responsible father, Obama campaign official said. See, that shit's disgusting, but he gets to stay. He gets to stay on Twitter. Some of this stuff, man, I love the Twitter trolls. Some of them are hilarious. Oh, geez, here we go. We got another side of the story over here. Here's a right winger. You actually allow clinics where you can go and murder your baby to have a Twitter account. Alex did nothing wrong. Jesus fucking Christ. That's wild. Exactly. They got actual war criminals on Twitter and nothing ever happens to them. So goddamn true. It's wild. Yeah, I guess it's time for my family to start waking up. I'm sorry, you guys. See, this person said, don't care if Alex is on Twitter or not. Don't use the term free speech as a manipulation device. Explain what it really is. Pretty much free speech, but with some fundamental rules that myself or a group of people decide upon. Absolutely. I completely agree with that. What else did I find on here as well? So this person put, no doubt about it, Donald Trump was absolutely telling the truth about his meeting with Elon. Oh, this is the Trump part of Trump coming back onto Twitter. So this is what Donald Trump said on his own, I believe, not on Twitter, on the other site that he's on. So he put, when Elon Musk came to the White House, and this is really good too, because this is hilarious, because this is Trump kind of giving away the fact that these, rich corporate owners aren't really rich. I know it's Matt Binder, I'm sorry, but he does make a good point that these rich people are only rich because they get free money from the government, government welfare. So I kind of enjoyed what Trump said right here. So when Elon Musk came to the White House asking me for help on all of his many subsidized projects, whether it's electric cars that don't drive long enough, driverless cars that crash, or rocket ships to nowhere, without which subsidies he'd be worthless, and telling me how he was a big Trump fan and Republican, I could have said, drop to your knees and beg, and he would have done it. So even right here, it says, he says, and Trump says it himself, this is a lot of stuff that we've all as activists have been saying too, is that he wouldn't be anything without his subsidies, without his free welfare money. That's exactly what a subsidy is free government money. Governments are like, they need this or they want this. We are going to offer them this much money. And then later on, we're going to add it to the national debt clock, make that a little bit higher so that everybody freaks out over the national debt. But we don't have to worry about that right now. Oh, Elon, you get your money now. Don't worry. We'll worry about, having our children have to pay back the taxes. So we need to live in austerity now in a couple of years. Don't worry. But it won't be you that lives in austerity, just the regular people. You'll still be good. We'll bail you out if anything happens. So I don't really, I like Trump just as much as all the rest of you guys do. I don't really care for him. He's just a talk show, TV show guy. But I do think that he made a really good point right here with the subsidy thing, telling him that he'd be worthless without it. And the fact that Elon is just kissing Trump's little butt to get him back on here. At least that's what it seems like to me, like Elon Musk sharing this kind of stuff. Or sharing, that stuff. I honestly, truly think that Elon is like, the Elon is like begging to bring him back so he can get into his good graces again, because he probably thinks that Trump is going to win in 2024. That way he can get some more subsidy money. Honestly, truly think so. But with the Alex Jones, he won't even bring him back because Alex Jones isn't going to offer him anything. He doesn't have anything to give him. So, yeah. And that was on, that was on Truth Social that Trump put that up there. I'm sorry I don't even know who Matt Binder is. Apparently he's a bad guy. So Matt is so annoying. Yeah, I have no idea who Matt Binder is. So apparently he's got a blue check. So he's got to be somebody important. I have no idea. Used car salesman, Trump, right? Poor monk. You talk about that, the photo right here. I know I'm like so afraid to put it up on YouTube because YouTube, they're ridiculous. So Teslas, when they see a little kid crossing the street, go forward. Jesus Christ. Some of this stuff is wild to me. What else have I got? Right, yeah. Okay, so there was a girl, the girl that one of so these kids that are doing the Stop Oil protest, one of the girls that did the Stop Oil protest that I think it was the one that threw the orange paint on the Van Gogh painting, got an interview on BBC. The girl's name is Phoebe Plummer, and she did an interview about the Stop Oil protests, all that's going on. Let's see what this says. Carry on admitting today and hope that some future date here. Let me add this. Huge carbon sucking technology will solve the problem. Yet we know carbon is killing Today, and global emissions are rising. Oil is more valuable than our culture, our heritage, and our bodies, more valuable than the beautiful web of life on Earth, more valuable than our home. That's what it says in the description. Let me share it with audio so that way you guys can listen. And we will start to watch this. I'm going to go run to the bathroom too. Coffee's running through me today.
To Phoebe Plummer from Just Stop Oil and Patricia Espinosa, who's a former executive secretary of the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. Patricia Espinosa, you're going to be there in Egypt. Can COP27 really speed up the transformation that's needed?
Well, that is difficult to say right now. It is a fact that the geopolitical situation, the energy crisis, the food crisis, the consequences of the pandemic have really concentrated the attention of leaders around the world. And therefore, this conference is an opportunity to recenter the priorities and the attention of leaders around the world around climate change.
Okay.
This is what we see. This is what is needed.
Phoebe Plummer, essentially to keep the goal of 1.5 degrees Celsius alive, national governments have to strengthen their climate plans hugely and implement them in the next 8 years. Do you have hope they will be able to do that?
Well, we already know that keeping 1.5 alive is a lie. Antonio Guterres said that earlier this week. And I wish I had hope in the COP conference, but 26 years of COP have shown that they have been hopelessly inadequate. Just Stop Oil's one demand is that the government immediately ends all new fossil fuel licenses. It's a no-brainer demand, yet the government still can't do that. That's an act of betrayal against me as a young person, everyone in my generation, against the people in the global south that are dying right now as a result of climate catastrophe.
You say it's a no-brainer demand. Patricia Espinosa, Phoebe takes part in direct protests to try to stop the use of oil. But I think yourself and many other experts say stopping oil tomorrow would not be a good thing. Explain why.
Well, because the transformation of the economy needs to go through a process. And this is why we talk about a transition process. But I do agree with the fact that the objective needs to be that we get rid of fossil fuels as a source of energy. And so what is important is that we have a plan, and we have a plan for accelerated action. If we only have a plan for action in the pace that we have had in the past, that will not do. If we had invested in renewable energy 20 years ago, when we already knew how big the problem was, we would not be facing today the energy crisis that we are living through, especially in Europe.
Do you accept, Phoebe Plummer, there is a plan? It may be going too slowly for some people, yourself included, your organisation included, but the incremental gains made by all these countries coming together is better than nothing.
Oh my God, that means that that bar is so low that it's better than nothing. Like the incremental change is better than nothing. I cannot wait to see what she says and go off on them, because this is just some brainwashing bullshit. Like the incrementalism of the climate change resources that we could have to help better society and still get the energy that we need. If we would have actually just stopped oil production and really started investing into that, we could have actually probably closely could have saved our world as of now. But they don't care. What they're wanting to do is they're wanting to continue making money off of oil until that runs out. And then once they figure out a way to make that same amount of money with renewable energy, that's the only way that they're ever going to accept and pursue and invest into that. Don't listen to anything that this woman says. And then her saying, isn't that incremental change better than nothing? Yo, bitch, that bar is fucking low and you need to raise that bar up right now, because I swear it's like these two old women are just going to sit here and attack this young girl. Like, yo, bitches, you two are going to be dead by the time that she's still alive, and she still has to deal with the fucking future of this planet while you don't. So you should be fucking listening to her because you don't have to deal with it. She fucking does. This little girl does. You guys are all going to be gone soon. It's so
Going
gross.
too slowly to save my future. Over 100 new fossil fuel licenses the government is pushing ahead. We don't have time for any more conferences. This is killing people now. It is going to kill people tomorrow. You know, we saw 40 degrees this summer and 60 homes burnt down. The fire brigade had their busiest day since the Blitz, and it's only going to get worse.
Patricia Espinosa, what do you think of the fact that the UK government is going to be issuing over 100 new licenses to drill for oil?
Well, as I said just a moment ago, definitely this is really not what we would be expecting, especially right now, when we have a very clear picture of the urgency to really get out of the fossil fuels. I do understand why this is happening, and it has to do with the energy crisis. But you know, what we really need to acknowledge is that the best way to get out of the energy crisis and to break that dependency on fossil fuels is to go towards renewable sources of energy. And we have examples around the world that demonstrate that this is possible. Look at California in the US. That's a very
Right, it's possible, but she's still making it's not what's going on fully. Like, yeah, it's possible out here in California. We have a lot of really good renewable energy. So why not keep going? Why did that girl just say that we just made a whole bunch of new Jesus Christ, cats. We just made a whole bunch of new contracts with fossil fuel companies. If anything, we're not going and moving towards renewable energy. We're adding renewable energy as competition to the energy system. You know, the energy market is what they're doing. They're not caring about the future of our world and the future of the people that live in there. They're caring about how much money they're going to make off of this energy thing.
A good example. It's a big economy, huge economy. So it can be done. And, you know, also listening to young people like our friend here sharing this conversation, I fully understand their anger and their desperation. So as decision makers, as people that can influence the course of action, we have to take responsibility. At the same time, I remain an optimist, and I just always say I will never give up.
Okay. Phoebe Plummer, do you think you are taking enough people with you when it comes to the kind of direct protest, whether it's blocking roads or spraying paint on a famous painting?
You know, this isn't a popularity contest. We're making change.
But are you bringing people with you?
Are you bringing people with you? Thank you so much for having me on. I'm really grateful to be here and have this discussion. It needs to happen. But as journalists, are you doing enough? You know, this is the biggest crisis that humanity has ever faced. You make time to report on the sport every day. Why aren't you telling people how bad it's going to get? Why aren't you?
This girl is fucking good. Talk about some golden comments, man. She got her there. I'll tell you that. Nice little slap of humble pie in her face right there. She's fucking right. If the news can sit there and talk about sports every day for 15, 20 minutes, they can talk about how we can benefit ourselves when it comes to the climate disaster that's going to happen. But because it's all older people that run the news channels nowadays, they don't give a fuck. They don't care.
You out on the streets with us because I admire your optimism and I admire you telling people that we have to go towards a renewable future. I agree with you. But quite frankly, it's not happening in policy. So civil resistance is the only chance we have left to get the radical change we need in the timescale we have left.
She's
ensure
right.
that I have a future, to ensure that millions of people in the global south don't keep dying. 33 million people are displaced in Pakistan right now. And governments are still pushing ahead with these fossil fuel licenses. Okay. That is murderous.
Phoebe Plummer, thank you very much for coming on Newsnight.
Thank you so much for having me on.
Not at all. And Patricia Espinosa, thank you very much for your time as well.
Also, she did a interview, which I thought was absolutely amazing as well. So this is her explaining her Van Gogh soup protest and asking if she's got a point, which I absolutely think she does. Here we go.
Trusty soup can on my brand now. I would like to make one thing perfectly clear. We did no damage to the painting whatsoever. I was in court yesterday, heard that there's been minimal damage done to the frame, which is repairable and replaceable, and absolutely no damage done to the painting. It was behind glass, and we never ever would have considered doing it if we didn't know that it was behind glass and that we wouldn't do any damage. I mean, literally, we were sat there still glued to the wall. They wiped it off with a bit of kitchen roll. I recognise that it looks like a slightly ridiculous action. I agree, it is ridiculous, but we're not asking the question, should everybody be throwing soup on paintings? What we're doing is getting the conversation going so we can ask the questions that matter. Questions like, is it okay that Liz Truss is licensing over 100 new fossil fuel licenses? Is it okay that fossil fuels are subsidised 30 times more than renewables when offshore wind is currently 9 times cheaper than fossil fuels? Is it okay that it is there in
Yeah, she makes a really good point. Fossil fuels are subsidized 30 times more than renewable energy. And we just learned what subsidies are. Elon Musk gets subsidies from the presidents all the time. Same with Jeff Bezos and all these other companies. Why is it that the ones that are getting more subsidies from the government are the oil companies instead of renewable energy, when they're supposed to be so serious about saving the environment and bringing in, the natural energy sources that have already been put out there? That's another thing too, is like, all we need to do is figure out the right things. Solar energy needs to be in solar states. Wind energy needs to be in windy states. And then once they have enough and overabundance of all that energy from the free resources, because wind is free, sun rays are free. Once you get enough of it, then you should be able to take care of your entire country with that. A lot better than having to burn up fossil fuels and ruin water aqueducts and shit because of all the dirty water that comes out of creating fossil fuels. It's disgusting. Yeah. In the Build Back Better bill, Biden awarded $2 million onshore acres and $60 million offshore acres of public lands to open for fracking and drilling every year for the next decade. And they get 30 times more subsidies than free renewable energy. Tell me that our government really gives a shit about climate change. So... yeah, I actually liked her act at that museum, even though people were crapping on her for being artsy. But if you listen to her message, it was really substantive. Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing she even says in here herself. Like, she understands that this was a gimmick. She understands that this was she wouldn't have hurt the actual painting. She even says this herself, that they wiped it off with some towels, and that's not the point. She doesn't want people to be talking about why she put threw soup onto a painting. She wants people to start bringing up the conversation of, why are they doing that? What is the message that they're trying to spread? And that's the biggest problem I had too with a lot of people that were talking about all these protesters, is like, this person's wrong for doing this and this isn't the way to do it. Like, fuck you. They're going to do it the way that they want to. These kids are kids. They're really smart. They're really intelligent, and they're fighting for what they fucking believe in, and let them do it the way that they want, because any other way that you guys say is acceptable, you're never going to listen to them anyway. You're just going to completely ignore them, go to your fucking Monday morning congressional meeting or whatever it is, or go to the Senate floor and hang out with your fucking rich buddies in a lobbying room. Never, ever, ever even acknowledge what they're trying to say. You're just going to say, oh, you shouldn't have ruined a Van Gogh painting. She didn't ruin it. She said it herself right here. She even said herself, she knew that there was glass over it, that they would have never even done it if they knew that it would have gotten ruined. She knew that. She's trying to make a fucking statement, and that's all these kids are doing. They're like at their wits' end, trying every little thing that they can to get the government to actually see what they're doing, what the government is doing wrong. I give her props. I super respect her for that. Let's finish watching.
That has led us to the cost of living crisis, where this winter people are going to be forced to choose between heating and eating. This is the conversation we need to be having now, because we don't have time to waste. Last year, Sir David King said what we do in the next 3 to 4 years will determine the future of humanity. So we're using these actions to get media attention because we need to get people talking about this now. And we know that civil resistance works. History has shown us that it works. I'm stood here today as a queer woman, and the reason that I'm able to vote, the reason I'm able to go to university, hopefully someday marry the person I love, is because of people who have taken part in civil resistance before me.
She's absolutely right. Absolutely right. Even though it's very minimal and they got, the basics, at least they got something, and that's enough to give them enough hope to fight for even more. So, something about, people are saying something about they're saying it isn't a zero-sum game, but this person is saying that it is. To those of you trying to dunk on Phoebe for being posh, she's using her privilege to fight for a cause that affects us all. Remember, privileged people can afford to take risks to advance social causes. Good on her for doing so. This guy does a video on the lavish lifestyles of billionaires shouldn't be allowed because carbon consumption is.
It shouldn't be allowed for billionaires to have such lavish lifestyles. You are an idiot. What? Why? Well, you've clearly never seen.
Nah, I get it. I hear what he's trying to say, but We've tried every single other location, this girl says, and many people were outraged by these decisions to smear tomato soup on the glass cover Van Gogh. AJ Plus spoke to the activists, hear their side of the story. All right.
Some people were outraged when these activists threw soup on art to get attention for their cause. Here's their response.
Why don't people have that same outrage, that same feeling of needing to protect our people and our planet? Recognize that it maybe looks like a slightly ridiculous act, but we're not asking the question, should everybody be throwing soup at paintings? We are doing this to get people's attention so that we can ask them what really matters.
Phoebe Plummer and Anna Holland recently threw tomato soup on Van Gogh's sunflowers at London's National Gallery.
What is worth more, art or life?
They were protesting their government's response to overwhelmingly high energy prices caused by inflation.
Fuel is unaffordable to millions of cold, hungry families. They can't even afford to heat a tin of soup.
The government's response to this crisis has been to increase oil extraction and production to lower the prices.
We've tried every single other action. I have tried going on marches, I tried signing petitions, I wrote to my MP countless times, and it never made any difference. So far, there hasn't been a moment of mass civil resistance like this in UK history. You know, we don't have a strict A to B rule book or guidebook that we can follow when we're bringing down the oil industry.
The current government has resisted taxing oil companies instead, despite many making record profits this year from the skyrocketing oil and gas prices. Many other activists have been going to museums and gluing themselves to artwork, along with smearing food on paintings. Activists glued themselves to Leonardo da Vinci's The Last Supper, Botticelli's Primavera in Florence, and Picasso's Massacre in Korea. These paintings, just like Van Gogh's sunflowers, are all protected by glass. Many of these protests were designed by Just Stop Oil, a coalition demanding the UK halt oil extraction projects, which have been ramping up since mid-2022.
Our action of throwing soup at painting marked the beginning of an escalation of Just Stop Oil's actions throughout the rest of this month. But we're also going to be using every single option available to us. We're going to continue escalating.
Phoebe and Anna said that ultimately they want the UK government to stop new oil projects. But they also want British homes to be insulated and public transportation to be subsidized.
You know, people may think that this didn't have the response that we want, but actually people are listening now. People are engaging in the conversations of why we did this, and we need everyone to join us because collectively we do have power. A lot of people feel powerless and think that they can't change the system, but our collective power is a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah, I agree. It is a nice little force to be reckoned with. They're definitely out there making change, and at least getting the conversation started. And getting the conversation started, which is, that's the least that the politicians and the people in charge can at least listen to, is them starting to make a ruckus about this. I mean, we should have been fighting like this a long time ago. Organizing. I give it to these kids. You don't see anyone older out there doing anything to stop this climate disaster. Just these kids. So, and then you got haters like this, who, she's fucking haters. Van Gogh would have got it, had to choose between eating. Yeah, exactly. Van Gogh would have understood having to choose between eating and heating his life. Yeah, exactly. So I give it to these kids for doing this. Definitely give it to these kids for hooking it up. Can we hear her explaining why she did? Why did she do that? I think she just did the I'm okay. This one's saying that this girl is an oil heiress. Man, there's some fucking haters up on Twitter. This is why I don't go on Twitter, people. Twitter is brutal. Oh, the Jerusalem Post posted that she was an oil heiress. How interesting. People, man. Just the hate pieces. I get so sick of that. That's like so annoying to me when somebody's out there doing some good stuff and they get hate pieces put on them without even knowing if it's like true or not. Oh. No. Okay. So, about a few days ago, NBC News did a report on the dark history of Native American boarding schools in the U.S. And they put an effort is ongoing to use ground penetrating radar to look for the unmarked graves of children who may be buried at Red Cloud Indian School in South Dakota. I figured since it is that holiday week that we would sit here every day at one point, at least one, throughout this week, and learn about the horrible history that Native Americans really had to go through. I like to call it Indigenous Awareness Week or Indigenous Awareness Day. Instead of Thanksgiving, I'm very anti the white supremacy of American imperialism and white imperialism. So I thought that, leave it up to NBC Nightly News to like pretend like they care what's going on, but at least there's something new out here showing that the schools, the native schools, are being looked into like they did in Canada. Natalie says, I'm nearly 60. 3 years ago, I participated in a march in a die-in in Seattle to get our legislators to divest from oil and gas. Then COVID hit. Your parents died and you've been ill on and off. I'm so sorry about that. That's why we've got these young kids to do it. They're super passionate. They've got all the energy in the world. They've got the time. That's why we got to, just have these kids' backs when they're feeling passionate about wanting to make our planet better for the future for themselves, because we're going to be gone. They're going to be here still. Every year that we're closer and closer and closer to the world's end of climate disaster is closer and closer to us already being gone and them having to deal with it. Our kids having to deal with it. So the least we can do is when we say, let's worry about our future and let's worry about our children. Let's stop worrying about the national debt and worry about the national climate crisis. So So here's the little nightly news thing about the Reckoning Native American Boarding Schools Painful History Unearthed.
A reckoning more than a century in the making.
America had hidden the truth from America.
As an award-winning NBC News investigative team heads to the South Dakota Badlands in the Pine Ridge Reservation to hear their untold stories.
I don't want to repeat it.
Of children forcibly taken from their homes and abused.
I became a shallow breather, thinking that if I don't breathe loud, I might disappear.
And to uncover painful truths.
Enrich us
in what we do. Sidestep my question. To bear witness to an unspeakable chapter in America's history.
They are being rapidly brought from their state of savagery and barbarism to one of civilization.
It's hard to know what genocide is if this isn't it. Threw them in jail, that took those often traumatized children, some as young as 4, to boarding schools where their language was forbidden and their beliefs rejected, where the death rate far exceeded those of white children, and where abuse, both physical and sexual, was commonplace. What to call such a system? Those who created it back in the mid-1800s called it the Federal Indian Boarding School System, but perhaps it should have been called an instrument of American genocide. About 100 miles from Mount Rushmore, a sovereign nation stretches out in South Dakota. Beyond the Rocky Badlands, the Pine Ridge Reservation, home to the Lakota and one of the poorest places in America. This cemetery, tucked behind the Red Cloud Indian School, is in many ways symbolic of a much wider reckoning, dating back 150 years. This was one of the Native American boarding schools, then called Holy Rosary Mission, sanctioned by the federal government and run by the Catholic Church. These schools articulated mission, kill the Indian in him, and save the man.
That is so gross. Kill the Indian in him and save the man. The disgusting whitewashing of people of color in our past is probably the most detrimental, disgusting, gross part of, I think, world history, you know? I'm pretty sure the way that the white people have treated people of color for the last couple of 100 years is even worse than like alien probing. So it's fucking bad. It's disgusting.
This is where Marcia Small enters the story, a Northern Cheyenne woman who we first met here 6 months ago.
I get really emotional in these places. The work we do is sacred. It will move us toward a horizon of healing. There's so much to be done. It's overwhelming at times. And if we don't all step to the plate, the nation itself, the United States of America, it will not heal.
Small is the only Native person in the U.S. leading the painstaking process of using ground-penetrating radar to help heal wounds of a painful past, by looking for the unmarked graves of lost Indigenous children who may be buried at schools like this one. How might it have happened? Beginning in the early 1800s, the U.S. government set up over 400 boarding schools across 37 states, some of which operated through 1969. About half of the schools were run by religious groups, many of which received federal payment per student.
Through the agencies of the government, they are being rapidly brought from their state of comparative savagery and barbarism to one of civilization.
These unpublished outtakes from a 1929 newsreel show just how clear the government was in its efforts to force Native children to give up their culture.
These children, but a few years ago, looked just like those we saw before. But today they all speak English, and some have taken business courses. We bring them in, clean them up, and start them on their way to civilization.
And the policy wasn't only designed to extinguish their beliefs, but to also make it easier for the government to take their land. In a 1969 Senate report, boarding school education was explicitly described as a weapon by which these goals were to be accomplished. What did it feel like to be trapped inside that system? We spoke to several former boarding school students, many of them telling their story for the first time publicly.
When I call him very sadistic because he took pleasure in spanking us.
89-year-old Basil Braveheart remembers being physically abused at Jesuit-run Red Cloud when he was a student, beginning in the late 1930s. The memory of being punished by a nun for speaking Lakota has stayed with him all these years.
She took out a rubber band. I want you to bite this rubber band with your teeth. And I want you to pull it as far as you can and let it go. The pain on my lips, physical pain.
But worse than the pain of that moment,
my friends laughed at me. To have your peers laugh at you goes to the deepest part of who you are. It's shaming.
And very effective in getting you not to speak your language, I imagine.
Can you imagine you guys wanting to speak your language and being in that Catholic church and then making you put a rubber band and stretching it and snapping it on your mouth if you spoke your own language? That's so fucked. Like, this is wrong. And us Americans, like, we just, like, how many views does this fucking thing have? 21,000 views. Does anyone care that that man said that? Like, holy goddamn, that's wrong. Wrong. Our government should be on their fucking knees to these people. Like, we are sorry. Please forgive us. And they're not. They're just, let's do a nightly news and talk about them as if they're like these bears behind a cage and we're just learning about these new animals. It's gross.
And he was sent away to school here. He says he now knows his family had no choice but to send him.
And if they didn't do it, Indian policemen will come and look for you, horseback, and they will find you. They told us that if you keep violating this, they mark you down and they weaponize rations.
Food?
Yes.
You either send the kid or we'll track you down with the police,
Right.
We'll cut your food rations. So really, they didn't have a choice.
I didn't understand that.
Did you feel betrayed when they sent you?
I felt betrayed by my grandparents and my parents. But afterwards, they were following a policy to survive.
At school, he remembers his hair was immediately cut, which is only done in the Lakota tradition when a very close relative dies.
Very soon after we got to the school, I got a haircut.
Do you remember how that felt?
Pehing, which means hair, is very sacred. I remember my grandma said, when you cut your hair, we put that in a cloth and we give it to grandpa. And whenever there is a sacred fire, the smoke becomes spirit from the hair that transcends and becomes one with the uncreated divinity.
Well, I take it that the Jesuits were not saving your hair so that it could be used in a ceremony.
No, it fell on the floor and they were walking on it. That to me was a deep spiritual violation in disrespect.
As we spoke, Braveheart revealed a hidden trauma that he's lived with.
Right. Talk about freedom of religion and people wanting their religions respected. I'm pretty fucking sure that these guys' religions weren't respected at all. Like in this, just this, even the slightest little bit, not respected even a little bit. But we want them to respect Christian, religion and what they're turning into laws. So it's crazy.
When I was in the dormitory when I was 8, 9 years old, and every night after the lights goes out, when a person walks in it, you can hear the squeaking. That squeaking, it still is a trigger for me.
One of the authorities at the school would come into the boys' dorm at night. For what purpose?
Looking for little boys.
To have sex with, presumably.
That's it. I became a shallow breather. Thinking that if I don't breathe loud, I might disappear.
He was not alone.
That is disgusting. That is so horrible and disgusting and traumatic, sickening. This kind of stuff, when I see this kind of stuff, is the reason why when people are like, why are you such a hater towards white people? Why do you not like white people? Motherfuckers, because this is your culture. This is our culture. This is what white people have done in history, and you think that I'm just going to be okay with that. Like, I'm just going to be cool with the fact that, you know, I understand there's a multitude of different of white people personalities, but I can also walk and chew gum at the same time, understand that there are nice white people, but also understand that this is our history and we have a lot of making up to do.
Just this year, a government report concluded that physical and sexual abuse was rampant at the schools. Braveheart's classmate Robert Strikes Lightning was sent to Red Cloud in 1943. He says he was 13 when a priest hit him with a sash lined with metal pellets.
He was big and strong then. He said, you won't be able to sit for a week. He was right. I had blisters on my backside.
And that wasn't the only time.
We'd go in his office and he would say, you know why you're here? Now grab your ankles. We'd bend over and grab our ankles. He had a big black strap back there and he'd take that off. He'd grab your ankles and he'll hit you till he's sweated.
About a decade later, Cecilia Firethunder, now 76, attended Red Cloud with her 3 sisters.
My dad and my mom made a decision to put us here for economic reasons. In the 50s and 60s, there was no economy, there was no jobs. And so they had children to feed. And then that's the big girls' dormitory.
We talked in the shadow of what had been the girls' dormitory when she was there. She told us she was never beaten, but was punished by the nuns for speaking Lakota.
That was the rule on the little girl side. You cannot speak Lakota.
Do you speak the language still?
I never forgot my language.
Firethunder remembers the way her grandmother encouraged her to hold on to her Lakota identity.
You had to live a double life here. You had to behave by all the rules, but keep your own self in there.
We knew we had no power. The nuns were power. You can't fight it. So what do? Just get by. Just get by.
That's so sad. It's so fucking sad. Right. Thank you. Exactly. Yep, I'm right there with you. As a white person, what the fuck is wrong with us, man?
As a nurse before rising to become the first female president of the Ogallala Sioux tribe in 2004. Looking back, she says, growing up separated from her mother meant that she struggled to nurture her own children.
Well, do you feel you were a bad mother?
Of course I did. Of course I felt I was a bad mother because then I screamed and yelled and punished my kids. And
because that's what you knew.
That's what they showed us.
Alex Whiteplume is also a former president of the tribe, although he attended two.
Did you hear that? That's what they showed them, that she thought she was a bad mom when she grew up because all she knew was the white people's way, and the white people's way to treat their children is to yell and spank at them all the time. And she thought she was a bad mom. I bet they raised their children completely different before they got forced to being white or acting white.
In schools elsewhere.
The beatings were usually they grab you by the ear and they jerk you down to the principal's office, or they grab you by the arms so hard that they leave fingerprints on your arms. And we were little guys, and that pain would last for days. And you got to a point where you didn't want to tell your dad or mom because they couldn't do nothing. It's just waste. So we just had to go along with it, and it was accepted.
Did you ever get hit with a strap or that sort of stuff?
No, the beatings, that was my mom and dad's generation that were beat. It was a little bit lenient when I grew up.
Have they told you about what happened to them?
Yeah. I don't want to repeat it.
The trauma manifested now in other ways, says Braveheart.
Students I went with, especially the boys, all of them drink. He drank using it as a medicine to tame their feelings.
And it continues today.
What this facility did and other facilities did to our people, it still affects us to this day through poverty, suicide, addiction, many other things.
Eleanor Ferguson told us she's trying to understand her own hurt.
I had to go deep within and realize that it was the church who, installed these traumas within my bloodline. It wasn't my family's fault. So I had to stop blaming them for my hurt and my pain and my suffering.
For the first time in history, both the Secretary of the Interior and the Assistant Secretary for Indian Affairs are Native Americans themselves. And yet, Nearly 2 years into the administration, the Interior Department is still tallying up how many schools were involved and how many children died. Meanwhile, Canada, which modeled its boarding school system on the U.S., has already paid billions in reparations. And thanks to Indigenous leaders there, the Pope even traveled to Canada to apologize for the church's role in what he calls genocide. These are the voices of some of those who attended such schools.
America has hidden the truth from America.
We had physical abuse, mental abuse, you name it.
I became a shallow breather, thinking that if I don't breathe loud, I might disappear.
While we were at Red Cloud last spring, Brian Newland, the Assistant Secretary of the Interior for Indian Affairs, himself a Native American, showed up unexpectedly. How do you personally feel about this effort to locate possibility of children's bodies using this machinery?
Well, it's deeply personal. There hasn't been one single Indian person in this country who's not living with the impacts of and the legacy of these boarding schools where people didn't make it home from these schools. The number of kids who were taken against their will and against their families' wills to be placed into these schools is countless.
But there is a number. One expert says at least 100,000 children were legally removed from their families by the federal government, and 40,000 died. That death rate significantly higher than that of white children at the same time. And while Newland authored the Interior Department report last year, which concluded there were 408 federal boarding schools, much is still left unresolved. For example, the report never uses the
Which
word.
it's going to be left unresolved. This is America. We can't even give reparations to slaves. You think we're going to give reparations to Native people? Like, our country just doesn't care. We're not Canada. Canada, at least, they're just as bad as we are, but they're the nice people up there. They're the ones that actually care a little bit. So yeah, they're starting to give the reparations and starting to pay back for the traumas that they caused these Native Americans on their own goddamn land and are still living from it. America? Nah, they don't give a fuck. If there's not like a bunch of white blonde women in there and a bunch of like Republican dudes with guns in that picture right there in front of us, they don't care. They don't care at all about fixing anything. They're just like, oh, we did something in the past that we didn't do that. I didn't do that. I personally didn't do that. So why do I have to worry about it? That's exactly what they say. It's ridiculous. It's like, yo, this is your history. This is my history. This is our history. This is what we're doing to people. The least we could do is give them reparations because there's still people reeling and feeling the effects of what happened then. You just came back, so you don't know what we're talking about. We're talking about Native Americans and the Catholic boarding schools and how America is just getting started on looking for the children in these boarding schools, at least talking to people about what happened in these boarding schools, while Canada is way ahead of us.
Genocide. Why is the word genocide hard to say?
You have to tell the story first and acknowledge first before then you can begin to move on, reconcile, and build back what was torn down.
But that is not a satisfactory answer to many of those we talked to. Alex Whitebloom, the former president of the tribe, confronted the assistant secretary.
And we're not going to heal until we see some type of justice by the United States.
There were a lot of pleasantries until you stood up.
Yeah. Well, I had to correct the history. What we're sitting on here is a Roman Catholic Church land, stolen in our treaty territory. And then the Assistant Secretary of Interior saying, we're going to bring you money. We're going to increase your law enforcement. We're going to bring your language back. That just ticked me off something awful. And so he's not telling the truth. He should face up to the truth. And America should face up to the truth. The American genocide should be a topic that everybody discusses daily.
You heard a former president of this tribe say, we want to hear the word genocide.
The purpose of these schools was forcible assimilation to separate Indian people from their lands.
It's hard to know what genocide is if this isn't it.
Again, we have to tell the whole story. And in tribal communities, families and people know exactly what happened to them. But what we need to do on behalf of the federal government is to paint the picture and acknowledge our own role. And we're at step one.
But why only step one, when the Canadians who modeled their boarding school system on the U.S. have already called it cultural genocide and agreed to pay out billions in reparations? Pope Francis even traveled to Canada this past summer on a penance tour to apologize for the church's role in the abuse.
For the deplorable behavior of those members of the Catholic Church, I ask forgiveness from God. And I'd like to tell you from the bottom of my heart that I am very pained.
I understand they're religious and they're wanting forgiveness from God, but they don't need it. They don't need to be asking forgiveness from God. They need to be asking forgiveness from those natives that they did it. And if they don't want to give you forgiveness, then you need to work on getting that forgiveness earned. I'm sorry, but you're quick, like, let me get away with all kinds of stuff because God forgives me bullshit. No. See, there's white people out there that ain't gonna fall for your stupid ass bullshit. That's such that don't ever fucking, when shit like this happens where these people, where there's natives or people of color that lives have been ruined for generations, and then you go around saying, I ask for forgiveness from God. Nah. Fuck you. Get yourself out of here. Go find another place to do that
Meanwhile,
shit.
the U.S. government is still investigating. And Red Cloud is conducting its own investigation.
I think the boarding schools play an outsized role in the intergenerational traumas that plague our Native communities. That's going to take a long time to undo some of that damage.
McCall Black Elk is leading an effort at Red Cloud, still a Jesuit school, with the difficult task they're calling Truth and Healing.
We're the first former Catholic Indian boarding school to be engaged in this effort, in this way and to be this far along. And hopefully we can show people that it's possible.
Marcia Small's work is part of this process, which the Jesuits at Red Cloud are helping to pay for.
Keep your heart good, keep your mind clear.
On a recent cold October morning at Red Cloud, Marcia Small continued her part in helping reveal what happened here.
My heart physically hurt. I feel empowered, but for some reason I feel incredibly sad. It's so sad right now.
Down these narrow basement steps, Small led the first public excavation of a former Native American boarding school, where an eyewitness said he saw unmarked graves decades ago. With the FBI present, Small's team shoveled away layers of earth and sifted through sand, looking for what could be remains of Indigenous children.
My ancestors put me here, and that's why I do this. We had to start somewhere, and we're here.
While she's not yet found any children's remains here, she believes there will be many unmarked graves in the cemetery, where she intends to return in the spring.
All I do is work for the ancestors. I work for the stolen and kidnapped children. If I can do that, if I can bring recognition, then I will.
Some of the next generation here believe the whole process is moving much too slowly.
What I see as change is we want our babies back. It wasn't right for the school to take our children and to assimilate us. We want to hold this school accountable.
We sat down with Philip Ironshell. His partner is Eleanor Ferguson. They're part of an Indigenous youth group that protested on horseback while Newland was on campus.
When we ride these horses, it's also really empowering to us as Lakota people. They're really sacred to us.
Would you like to see the Jesuits leave here?
Yes.
This is the census number.
Yeah.
Black Elk knows all too well how many divisions there are, even within the community. His mother is a Lakota activist and his father was a former Catholic monk. There are still about 1,000 Catholics in the community of approximately 20,000.
There are some people who don't like the Jesuits being involved in all of this. The perpetrators, in some larger sense, are involved in the process.
The Jesuits and the Catholic Church have their own healing to do. They have to face this history and their role in it as perpetrators. There is healing too for the perpetrator.
But critics say this amounts to the church investigating itself. Father Peter Klink has been at Red Cloud for more than 40 years.
There are many in this community who feel the Jesuits are the bad guy, that the Jesuits should go.
At least from what I've tried to do ever since I came in 1975,
was to do that lifting of the horizon of hope.
I think
in
you
what
just
we do.
sidestepped my question.
Well, I feel badly if people feel that way. I would love to see us be able to enter into a dialogue, either to end up together concluding the Jesuits should go, or to find the ways in which we can, in fact, join hands.
Father Klink arrived 6 years after the federal boarding school system ended and says he never witnessed any abuse. But he feels strongly that the community needs to face its past, even if that means digging in the cemetery or elsewhere on campus.
If we don't dig, if we don't find, then in fact, I don't know how we deal honestly with the past. Otherwise, we can't grow into the future that we hope we can grow into.
As brokenhearted as you would be by that.
I would be crushed to find out that we've got a lot of kids buried around here, but yet I don't think there's any way we can be a part of this process and not pursue the truth.
Would you agree that the original purpose of schools like this was to kill the Indian and save the man? Would you consider it ethnic genocide?
Yeah, yes, because it was basically saying to them, you need to change. You're primitives. You know, that cultural genocide was the result of what we participated in. That's why the truth and healing process, which we began here prior to the Black Lives Matter movement, prior to the announcements in Canada, we had already decided that we were going to go through this because we need to deal honestly with that past before we can move to a vibrant future.
Red Cloud has made many changes. The Lakota language is now taught and celebrated in a first-of-its-kind program. The native language that the U.S. government once tried so hard to extinguish now reverberates around these classrooms.
Our people fought for us to speak this language, and they didn't want us to not speak this language, so we started speaking it so we could keep it, and we didn't make them fight for no reason.
Like all of those we met here, the legacy of the past is still very much alive for Basil Braveheart, a Korean War veteran who spent decades fighting to hold on to his Lakota identity.
I was diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder, and I had a drinking problem. Someone told me, say, you know, with your experience, you're kind of like a wounded healer. I think that's what I do, is to help people to become whole, to become free of trauma.
He asked us not to film him as he honored our team with a Lakota healing ceremony. The first time he tells us he's conducted one for non-Native people.
I'm just so curious about how you feel about America after everything you know, everything that has happened. I mean, you have an American flag over here, for example.
A combat veteran and Marine gave that flag to me. So I do care for my country.
You don't say love, you say care for. Is that the same?
Love.
You love it?
Yeah.
Do you also consider yourself an American?
I'm not an American, I'm a Lakota. I don't know what being an American means. This is my land, this is my homeland. However, I come from a family of veterans. World War II, Vietnam, Korea. You honor it because all your relatives went and fought.
Do you consider yourself an American?
No, I'm Lakota first. I served in the U.S. Army. First, I'm Oyuchbe, Lakota, Oglala. That's who I am. And then American can be fifth on that ladder.
White Plume wants the U.S. government to acknowledge what he says was stolen.
I will not accept a cheap apology. We want our treaty territories back. We just sit there and watch our people die in pain so they can take the land. It's a horrible story. America never owned up to the genocide, and this should be a general topic of discussion. We should deal with it.
Braveheart sees things differently and says his grandmother's wisdom continues to guide him.
And she's the one that told me, but don't ever carry hate or prejudice because it's poison.
I mean, it's such a beautiful way to live. And yet it doesn't erase the trauma, does it? It doesn't erase the wrong, does it?
She said, you're going to remember Wounded Knee. You're going to remember what happened to you in boarding school.
But the does that mean that the people who did the bad things, the wrong things, don't have to be held accountable?
She said the accountability is for us to let the divine take care of that. You probably will never forget what happened to you. They won't either. Mark my word. Here it is.
You're making me speechless, which is not a usual situation for me.
The wisdom that she taught me was to forgive the unforgivable.
Both men do agree on this. Much of the poverty and addiction, pain and struggle found here at Pine Ridge.
Hearing him say that they need to heal themselves for being the perpetrators that they were, I absolutely respect him for that. I admire his courage and his kindness. I wish I could have the same as him, the same kindness and courage towards white people that he has. I am definitely not feeling that for these white people. Dodger, stop, eat your own food, bro. My house is like literally fucking just this is why I like to do my show when no one's home, because my house turns into a fucking hellhole when they're home and I can never do anything. So but I really appreciate and I admire his courage and his kindness towards the white people. I wish I had that in me, but I don't. I am sick of us and the way that we've treated people and the way that we continue to treat people. But I really admire him and what he has to say. It's very kind of him.
Is a direct result of what many of the elders and those who came before them suffered under the boarding school system. Generational trauma is real. Healing will be complicated.
Very, very good. I absolutely loved hearing them talk. I thought it was really, it just goes to show that America still doesn't care, you know. We're pretending like we are. It's that virtue signaling that we love to do. So yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous and pathetic that America's even acting like this. So but that was really good of them, or it was really good little piece that they put together. Wasn't expecting it. So, but I'm pretty sure they're doing it because, you know, of what this week is. Bro, eat your own fucking food. Stop eating the cat food. I'm getting sick of it. Seriously getting sick of him eating cat food. So that is all I have for today. Actually here, you know what? I'll show this. Since, you know, we're talking about churches and I'm running out of things to watch. Why are you, bro? Stupid fucking computer needs to chill out. Okay. Just to kind of show you how much worse this could actually, or how bad the churches really are. It's just a little extra thing I think I want to show you guys.
This next story contains graphic details and could be disturbing to some viewers. It was betrayal beyond description. The woman sexually abused for years by her father when she was a little girl is now suing the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. She says her mother turned to the church for help when she caught her husband sexually assaulting their daughter when she was only 5 years old. But the abuse never stopped. We talked with her about her legal battle against the church.
Well, we got our newest member of the Benita First Ward here, Elizabeth.
The first time that he held me in the hospital after I was born, he got an erection.
Elizabeth, we're only using her first name, was repeatedly sexually abused by her father from birth.
He started abusing me, like, literally as soon as they brought me home from the hospital.
Her family was deeply involved in the Church of Latter-day Saints, and her attorney says they attended this ward in Lemon Grove. Her father was an elder there, and she says he used their Mormon faith as a weapon, framing her personal hell as the path to heaven.
If you love me, you'll do this for me. And Jesus,
I saw that, Les Bones. I saw something about the World Cup. I think Elon was talking about it all over the place on Twitter, but I don't know what the World Cup is. Can I just be honest with you? I have no idea what the World Cup is. No fucking clue. We can watch the AMAs. The AMA awards were last night.
to love each other. And I wanted to show him that I loved him, so I did.
Her father hid his dark secret, but Elizabeth's mother caught him in the act when she was only 5 years old.
I thought I was in trouble. I did not understand why she was so mad. I thought I had done something wrong and I was in trouble because she just started screaming. I remember running and hiding, and then just nothing really changed after that.
Elizabeth's mom did what they were taught to do.
When you have a problem, you go to your priesthood leaders. So that
she was told along with her mother not to disclose, not to report it, and they would take care of it. And instead of taking care of it, they allowed the abuse to continue for many more years.
Sam Dordulian is a former prosecutor of sex crimes in LA and represents Elizabeth in her lawsuit against her father and the Church of Latter-day Saints.
They try to hide it. They told the family not to disclose it. They said they would take care of it, and they did nothing to take care of the problem. And the abuse and Elizabeth.
Hey, Skadefron. I will be here for about another 30 minutes or so. I should be getting off in about a half an hour off this show. You're good. You're good. You're good. Thank you. Yeah. No, you're awesome. Thank you for the raid too when it comes. I'm surprised you don't know what the World Cup is. It's a soccer tournament where teams from different countries. Oh, okay. I know about the soccer tournament. I didn't know it was called the World Cup, though. I don't watch sports ball very much. I call it sports ball because I don't watch it. I don't watch sports.
Kept suffering abuse year after year after year.
When they learned of continued abuse, the church finally excommunicated Maynard McFarland, but they still wouldn't turn him in to authorities. Elizabeth left home at 18, but took her trauma with her.
there were times where I would have to go to the, emergency room for 70 plus stitches because I had gone through an episode of self-harm.
In 2004, Elizabeth called San Diego police. They helped set up and record a phone call where Elizabeth confronted her father.
Do you remember when Mom caught us?
The first time? Sure.
How old was I?
I don't even remember.
Come on, Dad.
Maynard McFarland was arrested, charged, convicted, and sentenced to 32 years for his crimes against his daughter. He served 15. He now lives in Chula Vista, registered as a low-threat sexual offender.
I still have flashbacks. I still have anxiety, depression. I mean, just a whole host of trauma.
The lawsuit is only possible now because of AB 218, a California law that extended the statute of limitations for survivors.
Can you believe that? They've had to extend the statute of limitations just so that these women that dealt with things as children could still get the justice that they deserved through, well, at least with this situation, through the cover-up of the church, the Mormon church out here. So yeah, it's crazy. Like, even knowing that if kids grew up and wanted to get justice, that they couldn't in certain states because of the statute of limitations. You can only turn in or say that you were attacked in those ways during a certain amount of time. Once it's been too long, you can't do it, which makes it even worse for, women who have suffered trauma and are in fear of their lives to even come forward. It's with certain women, it does take a long period of time for them to come forward about this. And then by that time, it's too late and there's nothing that they can do about it. And then the patriarchy wins and women continue to be treated like this and men keep getting away with it. It's wild. AOC responding to progressives who are disappointed in her title. AOC, making mistakes doesn't make you a sellout. It's 12:42 in duration. Sure, I don't see why not. If you put it up on here, maybe somebody can send me the link, or I can just go into the YouTube channel and get it too.
Sexual abuse. It could result in a 7-figure payout from the church, but it would be cynical to think you could put a price on Elizabeth's suffering. Responding to CBS 8, a spokesperson for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints said they have zero tolerance for any kind of abuse and that it, quote, is still reviewing this complaint regarding abuse that occurred more than 2 decades ago, but disputes the allegations that church leaders advised the family not to report the abuse of the father to authorities.
How is it right that so many people knew what was happening and just let it happen? I still can't answer that question.
Elizabeth was trapped by family and faith and feels fury now when she sees video of her baptism as a child.
It makes my blood boil, and the fact that his priesthood leader knew what he was doing and just
go ahead and type it into the comment section and I'll look it up in the in YouTube.
allowed him to baptize me. Yeah, that makes me angry too.
So what are you hoping for in this lawsuit that will change with this church?
The way that they finally decide, oh no, we need to make a change, is when there's finally some sort of pain, financial pain inflicted on them. And we're hoping that this church will realize that what they did and their policies in the past, which sometimes continues on to today, needs to change. The children must come first.
And for those of you wondering about the mother's role, the lawsuit says that the church ordered her to not report the sexual abuse to law enforcement and that she, quote, justifiably relied on this policy and believed the church would protect her daughter. Church members are now mandated by law to report child sexual abuse to law enforcement or face misdemeanor charges.
Which I highly doubt that they are actually going to do that. Type it into YouTube. Yeah, what is let me know what it is. Okay, AOC, making mistakes doesn't make you a sellout. AOC, making mistakes doesn't make you a sellout. Oh, it's breaking points. The counterpoints people. All right. You just rewinded. The World Cup is the international soccer tournament played every 4 years. It's the second greatest sport after basketball. Of course you like it, Les Bones. I'm not into sports. No sports for me. I don't like sports. Yeah, so perfect. Definitely see what this is about. I don't know why my shit is so slow today. Let's see what it says. Here, let me present it. Here we go. So Ryan gives his take on the rise of the left-wing Democrats like AOC and the future of the coalition. Okay, let's watch.
All right, Ryan, let's move on to your point for today.
All right, so when Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez upset Joe Crowley in the summer of 2018, the political environment on the left was drastically different than today's. The Bernie Sanders campaign in 2016 had brought together disparate progressive forces and merged them into something resembling a political movement. That energy buoyed AOC in what would come to be known as the Squad, and only grew stronger throughout 2019 and into the next presidential race, where Sanders won the popular vote in the Iowa caucuses, finished on top in New Hampshire, and blew the other candidates out in Nevada, producing a meltdown among the party establishment and on cable news. The party brass recovered quickly, consolidated behind Joe Biden ahead of South Carolina, came from behind on Super Tuesday, and finished Sanders off. Over the next year, the ecosystem that came together, increasingly organized around YouTube shows and podcasts, began splintering off. Some followed Tulsi Gabbard as she drifted out of the party, while others worked to build an alternative to the Democratic Party, while others still gave up entirely on electoral politics. So at the start of her career, Twitter was a place where Ocasio-Cortez could be seen to be leading an army of supporters. But often today, it seems more like she's fighting off an army of critics from the left. Others in the progressive ecosystem who still support Ocasio-Cortez complain that she hasn't invested heavily enough in building infrastructure or supporting candidates early enough for it to matter. So I asked her about her relationship with the left in a recent interview for the Intercept podcast, Deconstructed, and here's the first clip of it. It's interesting. So when the left was totally out of power from, say, 2015 up through, I guess, the election of the Squad, that unity among kind of the national grassroots online left was really strong. That unity has really frayed. You can feel it online. What do you think brought that about, and what do you think can be done to recharge it?
Well, again, I think a lot of it has to do with, it's one thing to be united in what's wrong, but it is a much more complicated, nuanced thing to navigate uncertainty. And so then once you have the responsibility of power, you have to make decisions on a daily basis about what to do with it. And that takes a lot of communication and, frankly, maturity and understanding and discussion. And I think
so. Telling a guy in her audience, one of her constituents, that we need to stop this Ukraine Russia war and her telling that person to be quiet, that he's being rude, is her being mature, right? Is that how that goes with that? Because here she is. Woo.
Sometimes, the responsibility of wielding power for people requires a lot of discussion and debate, and also disagreement, and how we manage disagreement. If someone makes a mistake, it's not the same thing as someone selling out. There needs to be a differentiation between an individual decision and a record and a pattern. And
so the force the vote thing was a mistake? Because to me, it's more like she sold out.
And so, I think in the initial aftermath of gaining power, having to have these conversations require a lot of growth, and it requires a lot of debate. And I think sometimes it's very easy to turn on each other and have people turn on each other, and oftentimes mistake a disagreement with malintent or lack of character. And so I think that's kind of what we saw for a little bit. But I actually am also sensing a moving beyond that. Of course, much of that is still going to exist, but I actually do sense a growth in that. If you look at the growth in national DSA, for example, of course, these periods of growth can look messy, but actually public debate and struggle is what allows there to be the transparency and also trust necessary in decisions. And to be able to hash out these disagreements, but then understand that despite disagreements, a person may have made a decision, but there's understanding when to draw the line between there being a difference of approach or a difference of strategy, even if it's when you
completely agree. DPRK socialist. Yeah, she says that there's a difference between a mistake and and a record, but she has a record of disappointing us. Yeah, the force the vote, the second bill that was supposed to come with Build Back Better. There's so many numerous times that she was supposed to come in and say, I'm going to come in and I'm going to stir up the pot. She's going to, you know, change everything and make things come. But here she is in power talking about how I'm not a sellout. I just made mistakes. And there's a difference between making mistakes and being a sellout. No, girl, I think if you make yes, I agree. Like if you make a mistake here or there, fine, whatever. We can look past it. We can be mad at you for it and look past that and only worry about, and focus on your issues. But you're right. She has a record. She, as many times as she's disappointed us and done things that she, done the opposite of what she promised. She absolutely is a sellout, but she's going to completely tell herself that she's not, because she's got Mama Bear Nancy Pelosi by her side telling her that she's doing a good thing. So she's extremely disappointing, especially from someone in our generation. Yeah, absolutely. Because she was supposed to be what we thought was going to happen if we were to move or to get into Congress, like us regular people. Like we thought she was going to do what we would have done. And she didn't. She exactly, Kate. I was just going to say, yeah, she turned into a Pelosi 2.0. Exactly. Just one or two mistakes isn't one thing yet, but 9 or 10 mistakes is another. That's when you become the sellout. Absolutely.
Vehemently disagree with, and just like someone acting like someone who's just like not on our side. Those are two different things. And I think that there's a greater appreciation of that. I think that there is more movement building that's happening. And I think that that is evident with the enormous electoral gains that progressives are making down ballot. I mean, if you look at these state Senate seats that we are picking up in places like Georgia and other areas across the country, like this is nothing to sniff at. I really do think that we're building a
How
bench.
is that nothing to sniff at? She's literally going back to electoral politics. That's absolutely ridiculous. Skate Fron, thank you. Thank you for rating me with the 5 viewers. How are you? I got about 15 more minutes left if you guys want to chill out and join. And then we are going to be, I'll be rating Nikichka if you guys want to check out her as well too. So we'll be rating her right as soon as we're done with our little episode. Right now we're watching a video of Ryan Krim getting interviewing AOC and talking about the difference between her making a few mistakes and being a sellout. So let's sit here some more and make fun of AOC. Thank you.
And that it's trending in the right direction. I think electorally we are setting ourselves up for good things. But yeah, I think online discourse is, we can grow up. Like we can, and I don't mean that in a
She has some nerve to say that we can grow up when she goes around and anyone says something negative about her. She's like, oh, they like me. They have a crush on me. They want me. They're obsessed with me. Like, bitch, you need to grow up too a little bit. Don't be a hypocrite and tell other people to grow up when you go around saying that people have a crush on you when they're saying something negative about you.
In an accusatorial way, but I think that we can become more sophisticated. I think that we are becoming more sophisticated, but it definitely takes growing pains.
So I want to ask you, one, what you thought of that, but two, if you ever see parallels on the right with, say, Tea Party or Freedom Caucus types.
I completely agree, TPRK. Yeah, she's gonna vote for Hakeem Jeffrey to replace Nancy Pelosi. How Jamal Bowman is already supporting him, man. Yeah, just goes to show we're no different. The supposed progressives are no.
Who come under criticism from the much further right for going to Washington and becoming a giant sellout. How do they handle those criticisms.
Yeah, there are definitely parallels there, but I thought that was really interesting because it sounded almost cathartic for her to have that conversation with a reporter, because it's something that I think she really desperately wants people to understand, that when you get to Washington, she's repeatedly saying, and you have the responsibility of power, and you have to on a daily basis make decisions for the country and for your constituents, it changes your mindset and it changes the way that you approach some of these questions. Whereas activists genuinely,
then that's it. Then just volcano the whole fucking country of all the parties. Then if she was our only, like, our last bit of hope to be able to bring about change into our government system, and even this girl right here is saying that it's cathartic for AOC to say that once you get into office, it's a completely different ball game. It's a whole new field. Then we're done. There's no fucking hope left. There absolutely is no hope left. If somebody like us who's extremely progressive wants to get ourselves into office, and this is the kind of bullshit that we have to deal with, to the point where we just have to bend over, take it in the ass every year until somebody else gets voted in, we're done. This fucking country's done. What's the fucking point anymore of trying to save it if this is how it's going to be? Like, the status quo is never going to get fixed. If somebody even like AOC couldn't have even done it, and now she's like, I just need somebody to complain to, like a reporter, because I get so much shit because I'm not doing the job that I said I was going to do. Fucking bite me, AOC.
It's like have the luxury of being able to have ideological purity on every bill, on every issue, because they're not the ones that are jockeying for a seat on the committee or a voice in X, Y, and Z. And I'm not saying that's the way the system's supposed to work, but it's interesting because when she said that quote, we can grow up, I thought if I were an activist on the left, I'd actually be really offended by that, because the implication is that your consistency, your ideological consistency is immature. What was interesting, though, about that quote is she seemed to be including herself in that. She caught herself and seemed to be saying almost that, like, I'm trying to grow up too. Like, I'm an activist, bartender, made my way into Congress, and hey, things are different here. And I know you've been a part of conversations like that about Medicare for All. And those are conversations that I think when you have the unfortunate daily job of seeing how the sausage gets made, you sort of know what people are doing, and the system shouldn't work the way that it does, but it does. And I think that's what she was getting at. And I think you've seen similar.
So be a leaker. Why can't she leak that? If you know how the sausage is made on the inside, then why can't you go to the outside to the regular people and say, this is how it's done? How are we going to fix this? There's got to be somebody out there that's smarter than me as a congresswoman that can go out here and try to fix this, because this is how it is. Didn't she do that at the beginning when she first got into office? She's like, there's all this, and this going on. So just forewarning, this is going to be a bigger job than I expected. Let us keep knowing. Let us know how that sausage is made, because we're all sitting out here in the dark while you're looking like a fucking sellout every day because you ain't doing shit, because you know how it's made and we don't. I will never, ever give her the benefit of the doubt. I can't. I'm sorry. I just fucking can't. I just can't. And then hearing her giving her the benefit of the doubt is ridiculous.
Joins the Gang of 8 on immigration, and just has his career almost decimated for 5 years, and now he's a very different senator than he was then. But another just a good example of how that can happen when you're somebody who's elevated by the activist wing and then comes here. Certainly, people come here and are outright corrupted all of the time.
I actually asked her, "Do you include yourself in that? We need to grow up." Let's play that second clip. When you say we, are you including yourself in that too? Or when you look back, are there any things that you think your critics got right? Like if I were trying to pinpoint one, I'd say the Amazon warehouse fight that was being waged, where they were trying to get a whole bunch of support and didn't. Like, if you had to do that over again, or are there any things that you would have done differently if you could do them over again, to try to like rebuild that communication and trust?
Yeah, I mean, I guess like the thing is like, I think it's really about like intra-left relationship, right? So like if you look at that incident, I mean, now we're all good. Like you know what I'm saying? Like that relationship, like we're cool. Like we dove in, and it wasn't just about like showing up at a press conference. Like we have offered infrastructure support, but there really is a difference between asking one person to be there for every single thing, and then when they can't make it for one thing, that like it must be because they abandoned all principle. Like there's a difference between that and just like, hey, okay, yeah, like we missed it on this one because there were literally 800 other things other fights that people were asking us to take up.
I wonder if she's insinuating the Amazon union fight, because I still couldn't even forgive her for that. Like, okay, cool, you had 800 other things to do, but the least you could have done was say, Amazon labor unions I have your back, on like a tweet or something. She could have taken a minute out of her day to send a tweet saying, hey, Amazon union laborers, I got your back, And if there's 800 other things going on in the day, like, please tell me out of those 800 things, which one of those are more important than labor unions in a capitalist society in America, which is part of the reason why you were running to get end anyway. So please tell me how your priorities are extremely straightened out, AOC, because you sound like you're just all over the place, like a fucking fish out of water. Exactly, Les Bones, gaslighting queen. Holy shit.
And like,
yeah, you know what it does? It reminds me of like that friend that never wants to go out and do anything, and you get tired of him, and you're like, come on, we keep inviting you to do things, and you're like, the person's like, oh, I'll meet you guys out there. I'll see you guys at the party tonight, and then they end up never coming up, and it just gets super annoying. Like, all right, you just suck now. You're not fun anymore.
We showed up and we're back together again. And actually, like the discourse of that moment.
And then the next morning she's like, oh well, I had this and this to do, and I'm so sorry, I completely forgot.
Out of step with the reality of what played out, because we've continued to support and do everything we can to make sure that we're up on that, and we're good now. And so I think there's a temptation, and we have to be aware of the role that even algorithms play in this, right? Like YouTube, Twitter, all of it is designed to make us fight with each other. Like that is rewarded algorithmically. And so I think with the awareness of that, and it's not to say that we shouldn't ever, we're better with sound criticism, but I think we really need to be grounded in strong citation and not just incitement of emotion. Like let's talk about having really thorough arguments to make each other better. Like that's what political struggle is all about, and engaging in that, with one another as a movement.
I think she's right about the algorithms. We're up against a hard stop. Do you have like a 15-second thought?
I just think it's fascinating. I mean, of course, people come here and have all kinds of issues with us, whether it's money or power or just trying to do what you think is right, which is rare. But that sounds to me like
I understand that Twitter is that does reward people fighting and stuff, but people basing their actions off of their emotions is what makes passionate events happen in a society. I mean, if we all just sat here around a fucking, a table with, cigars talking about things, nothing's ever going to get done. These kids earlier today that I was talking about with the paintings for climate change, we've been trying to do things civilly by talking for so long, and we keep getting kicked out of the conversation. Third parties can't even run for office to get things changed. So Thank you, Skate Fron, for coming. Yes, good night. Have a sweet dreams. Thank you for stopping by. And everybody else that came with Skate Fron, thank you for stopping by. If you guys still want to hang out, I got a couple more minutes left, and then I'm going to be heading over and raiding Nikichka. If you all want to stay and hang out, I do appreciate you guys being on the Twitch. Please give me a follow. I'm trying to get to 100 subscribers on Twitch now. So please, please, please hook it up if you can. Hook a sister up. But yeah, her talking about how, yeah, there's infighting and stuff and we need to come at it logically instead of emotionally. She's turned into the exact stereotype of a politician that we hate. She absolutely is. You haven't even seen that part of the video. That's a good little section. So yeah, right. What if she isn't lying? She's just out of touch as she sounds. Right. Yeah. I think she completely got herself out of touch. I think she lost her passion. I think she lost everything that we loved about her when she was running for office. I think she just lost it all by being in there. And it sucks. It's like a death, like Congress is a death machine.
Somebody who was elected in the social media generation understands social media and is dealing with challenges that are different than really what any other generation of Congress has dealt with.
All right, well, the full interview over at Deconstructed. We're gonna have more.
Ooh, there's even more to it. Oh no. That's going to be interesting. Maybe I'll look for the rest of it today and then I'll talk about the rest of it tomorrow. But that's it. That's the end of my show. I got like 2 more minutes left, so I definitely want to hop onto Twitch really quick, hook up Nikichka with her raid. Creator dashboard. Let's hook up Nikki. Thank you guys over there again on Twitch for hanging out and sticking around with me. I super appreciate it. I'm definitely working on my Twitch now for my own personal use. So KRTD is doing officially well over on YouTube, and now it is my turn for my own personal gain. So thank you all. Hope to see you all again soon. And here is Nikki. All right. They all went to Nikki's. Thank you, DPRK, for sending me that video. Super appreciated. I am going to look into it more today and maybe talk about it tomorrow. Trying to find some more articles and stuff to talk about tomorrow. So thank you for sending me that today. Thank you for helping me fill out the last half an hour of my show. I was sitting here like, what do? I hope I have somebody that helps it out. So super, super thank you. Let me let them know that I am rating them over at Nikki's channel. Okay. So thanks for stopping by, everybody. DPRK Socialist, Les Bones, if you want to. If you get off work today early, just let me know. We'll play some more Grounded. I'm totally down with playing Grounded today. I'm still obsessing. So, do I have Twitch links? I absolutely do. Let me head over to my channel. If you guys want to hook me up. Hook a sister. It's all right, Les Bones. Don't worry. If you guys want to hook a sister up over on Twitch, there is my Twitch channel right there. It's Image Productions. It's my name, Jimmy backwards, Productions. And that's where I'm trying to get started on there. So I got like something like 20. So okay, cool. They're all excited that I'm rating over there. Nikki's good. She's got like 20 something people watching her, so she's freaking awesome. I'm gonna head over there to watch Nikki right after this show. Let me know what you guys are doing for this week. If you guys have anything you want me to cover for this week's show, just let me know. I might not do a show on Thursday. I'm not sure yet. I do enjoy taking a day off of work if I have to. So I don't know. It depends on if, something happens or something doesn't happen. I'll leave it up to the universe to figure it out for me, probably the night before. So thank you all for stopping by. I know Warren was here earlier. Les Bones, thank you. Skate Fron, thank you for coming in with your raid. I'm super appreciative. It's so cool. You're like number 3 now. So stoked. Cape Socialist, thank you for stopping by again today. I hope you have a wonderful day. Who else stopped by? I know Holly was here earlier. Natalie Williams, nice to meet you. Thank you for stopping by. Jim Engel from the Official People's Party. And I think Lana was here. Brandy D from the Brandy and D show. Give them a shout out. Go and check out their channel. Brandy and Around the World with Brandy and D. That's their YouTube channel. Thank you for stopping by, Robert. Don't forget tonight that on Extra Booyah's YouTube channel, I'll be watching that. He's going to be having oh my gosh, I've got so many things on my mind. Willie Braggs. He's going to be having Willie Braggs on his show tonight. So make sure you don't forget to check that out. That's going to be really awesome to watch. Absolutely. Thank you, Natalie. See you on the flip side for sure. Everybody have a good day. Have a good week. Enjoy the family. Stay high and don't let the politicians bug you. I don't know. I was trying to come up with like good night, sleep tight, don't let the bed bugs bite, but in a funner way, and it didn't work. So I'm done. I quit. That's a sign for me to get out of here. Peace out. I love you all. Thank you for showing up, and I will check you all tomorrow. Bye.